Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TARDIS Zones review panel of the Sontaran War. If you've missed it, I did a watch along. If you want to get me thoughts on the episode as I was watching, go and check out that stream before we start. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And whatever device you're using, go into your YouTube settings and whack on those notifications so you don't miss any of our streams. So, without further ado, I will start bringing on my guests. I have sent everybody an email, but I don't know if Charlotte's still watching because I know she was watching a bit late. But just in case the email didn't go through, because we have had problems before sending Charlotte an email, so I'll send it again, and hopefully we'll have our panel. So there you go. It's saying it's sent. So hopefully now that'll be it. So it's a bit slow, this computer today. Right, so let's bring on our guests, and hopefully Charlotte will pop in as well. We've got 43 people watching, so do me a favor. As I said, like, share, and subscribe. I know there are other YouTubers streaming as well at the same time, but that doesn't matter. You know yourself. There's always got to be a bit of a clash, but who cares? But before I do start, because in the last stream, if you don't like what I have to say, i.e., because I'm being positive, you don't have to announce that you're unsubscribing to my channel. Just do it and leave. I can't be bothered. If you have a problem with what I'm saying, then that's fair enough. But just go. You don't need to explain to me that you're leaving or make a big huge announcement. Just go. I'm just sick and tired of people anyway. Because I'm saying positive things about this. Apparently, I'm a sellout and all of this. Jesus Christ Almighty, man! Will you just leave it out? Cop onto yourselves. It's the TV show. Right. Anyway, let's bring on our panel because we have them all here. Right. So we'll start off because we always ladies first anyway. But it's the one and only Queen Charlotte.
Hello, I watched it in time today. So you don't have to wait for me to come on.
Nice one. No, well, I left it an extra 15 minutes because I wanted to get a coffee. I'll turn on my camera now in a minute. I just want to have my cup of coffee and a quick puff.
Oh, you did the stream before, so you needed 10 minutes, didn't you?
Yeah, I just need to relax. And I'm suffering with terrible heartburn as well, which is not helping the fucking situation. I had a big dirty breakfast roll this morning before I went to sleep, and I don't think that was a good idea because it's repeating on me now. Marty, I sent you an email, man. You are the first person I actually sent an email to, and then I sent Charlotte 2 emails because I wanted to make sure that.
Oh, Charlotte, it's weird now. It's not doing the thing it was doing before. Having yours as part of another email, it's actually been like coming to me normally now. It's weird.
Oh, thank you, Google. You must love me now. Marty, I'll send it again to you, mate. Right? Email, yeah. Email. There you go, Marty. There we go. Right. So we'll have all our panelists on. So there you go. Saying it's sent. Sorry, the computer's on a bit of the slow, but there it's sent. Right. As I said, I've sent you 2 emails. So if you don't get the email, let me know. And what I'll do is I'll go into Facebook real quick and I'll send the link to you on Messenger. I think you still send a link on Messenger. Right, let's bring on our next guest because I coerced him into watching. And he hasn't had. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out tonight if he's had a mental breakdown. But don't say anything yet, Lee. Just come on, say hello. Don't give anything away. One big thing I'm going to say here before we do start, there's going to be plenty of spoilers. So I don't want anybody bitching to me that, there's spoilers. Could you not have told us? It's scrolling across the screen there. If you can't see that attention, there will be spoilers. Then it's not my fault. I'd say wear a pair of glasses or something. Right. It's Lee.
Hello.
Oh, you sound fine.
I was going to say, are we feeling a bit better just because you were not well this week?
Yes. A lot better, yes. Thank you, baby.
Good man, good man. Nice to hear. Glad you're fighting fit and strong, mate. Because it's going to be interesting to hear what you have to say. Noel, how dare you tell me the Sontarans were in this episode? What? The Sontarans were. Look, I don't know what people. Look, fair enough. I did say it while I was watching it. The one thing that did disappoint me was there wasn't that big battle that we thought we were going to see, right? But other than that, I'm going to leave it for a minute, right? I'm not going to say anything yet, right? Because if you watched, actually, you watched me watch along. Some of you already watched, so you already know what I'm going to say anyway. But let's bring on our next guest. It's the one and only real super doctor.
Well, hey, I'm quite surprised by this. I'm quite surprised by this.
I know. I seen you. I seen how you when you started off when I was doing the watch along, and I seen it. I said, "No, John doesn't seem to be impressed again this week." But then, as the episode was going on, I seen your comments start changing, and I was like, "Holy crap!" By the way, just to let you all know, I'm shocked. Daniel has decided that he's going to check out these 2 episodes. I cannot believe it, because he said he would not watch this, and the fact that now he's deciding to, do you know, I'm delighted that you are, to be quite personally honest with you, because I think you do need to watch this to kind of get that closure. To be honest, I think some fans do need closure, and I think this will be good for you. It's not as bad as everybody's making it out to be, but
I would say going forward, Daniel, let us watch them first and tell you what we think, and then I don't want you to now commit to watching the whole thing. Just listen. I know we say don't listen to reviews, but you know you can trust us. Just
exactly, you get honest
feel of it before you jump for the rest of them would be my advice.
Yeah, watch and see how you feel. And look, if it's still not your cup of tea, I would agree with Charlotte. If it's not your cup of tea, then still don't watch it. Don't put yourself through it. I've even given Lee that option as well. I've said it to him that any time during this series, if he does decide to bow out, I have no problem with that. Even though I was joking with him saying I'd be disappointed, I wouldn't be. If Lee decides that this is too much for him, he can leave the panel at any time. Because I wouldn't force anybody to watch this, even though he did put up a poll himself and he lost, so he has to kind of go.
I lost by 0.8%.
I know, it's only slight. I told you it was going to be close, though.
Was it 0.2% or something? No, I think it was 0.2%.
Yeah, I say you were sick. Right. Anyway, here's our next guest. The one and only Sigma Later. Cough neurotics, cough doom, cough. Look at. I can imagine what's going on the other channels. I don't really care. They're entitled to their opinion. Every fan has a different level of disappointment right now and pissed off with the BBC. So as I've always said, I do understand it. I just hope, though, that reviewers like that, they do try to be honest within how they feel. And I think they are doing that, even though I mightn't agree with certain things that's being said. At the end of the day, that's how they feel. And I'm not going to fucking start slating anybody for how they feel. Because Series 11 and 12, you all know how I felt. I'm just surprised. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just 5 years too late. Fuck off, Chibnall. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, here's Marty. Marty is coming on. I do be delighted to have Marty on. Hey, Marty.
That sounded so enthusiastic.
Yeah. A little bit too enthusiastic, actually. Sorry about that. But welcome aboard. I'm not watching other channels at the moment. Don't want other people influencing my thoughts, if that makes sense. No, I get it. I've always said it. It's up to the individual themselves whether they're going to watch it themselves or not. But I would say, make that decision for yourself. Don't make that decision based off reviewers, including us, by the way. As Charlotte rightly pointed out to Daniel, it's important that you come to use our own conclusions and decide whether you are going to watch it yourselves without being influenced. You know what I mean? But at the same time, as Charlotte did say, look, this will be, and I keep saying it, and I'm not saying it because I have a big head, because I know it to be true. You're going to get the most comprehensive look and different opinions, even on this panel. Cheryl will have her review when she watches it as well. And I was surprised because for the first time, Cheryl was more critical than I was of the first episode, which I couldn't believe, right? I was watching it live like you. I didn't know that she hasn't watched it with me tonight. She'll watch it now, tomorrow, or during the week. She'll take notes and then she'll do her review. So, as I said, the most comprehensive look. We'll be bringing other people on as well that have watched it then during the week to get their thoughts. So you're going to get a lot of different opinions on this channel. So like, share, subscribe, and as I said, hit that notification bell and go into your device and whatever, go into your settings, into the notifications, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss a bloody video, a stream. Because I tell you, these panels can get heated. But let's see, and let's get straight into it, of course. So the second episode obviously was called the Sontaran War. And we will start with you, Charlotte. So what we'll do is, I'll tell you what, we'll make it easier this week. We did a Jordan Series 12 and I thought it helped a lot. We'll start with the things that you liked about the episode. So everybody on the panel, everything that you liked about the episode and things that you disliked about the episode. So we'll start with the positive first. We'll go around the whole panel and then we'll get into the negatives, and let's see, are we all in agreement of the negatives and stuff like that. It's going to be very interesting. So Charlotte, we'll start with you. What did you think?
I will say, considering I was very nervous of the Mary Seacole angle, I have to give it to him. He actually did a good job with her.
I agree.
I wasn't finding me go, no, that's wrong, or you're trying to push a certain angle with this character. It felt like he just wanted to write Mary Seacole, and the actress was actually really good. Like
I agree.
I love the scene when she arrived, actually, because you could just tell she had that no nonsense that somebody of her, what she was doing in the war, needed, and the sort of the warmth she also had, you could feel that with the soldiers. So I actually, considering I was really nervous of her inclusion, I've got a little negative, but I'll leave that till later. But overall, I think she was actually, considering what he's done before with historical characters, she's by far one of the better ones he's done.
No, I agree with you. That was the one thing that worried all of us on the panel, let's be honest. And I was nervous like yourself. But as soon as I heard the way she was interacting with the doctor and then she was interacting with the general, I knew we'd actually be all right with her. I was actually surprised that he didn't use her as a plot device to tell us how horrible we are. But he didn't. No. He actually gave her character development, gave her a nice little story, and she goes and helps the doctor as well. I have to say now that surprise again. He surprised me again this week. But go on anyway. Continue what you were saying. You've got other stuff you want to.
Yeah. Considering we actually saw Vinder properly, because I thought he was very throwaway in the first episode. From what I've seen, I quite like Jacob. He's not a copy of Captain Jack, which I also had a suspicion, which is good. He seems to be his own character. He seems to be sort of, once again, he's got a likability about him, but he's also got just the right amount of attitude, which I liked. It wasn't too cocky. So yeah, just from and because I said I was watching it and half looking at your chat, I wasn't listening to you watch along. Yeah. But I agree, him and Yas, that was actually working.
Yeah,
their scenes were actually working chemistry-wise. I was like, what on earth? Like, Yas was still weak, but I won't concentrate on that. But you could tell there was a bit of good back and forward between them.
Yeah, and there seemed to be a bit, I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but there seemed to be genuine chemistry there as well. And there was one little particular scene, I forget where it was in the episode, where when she first walks in and you can see Vinder's face lights up and he gets nervous. No when a bloke sees a good looking
Oh yeah,
woman.
there was I would be surprised if maybe from his end at least they might try that.
And it's going to piss a few people off.
Yeah, but it like I said, I felt like we didn't see enough of him last episode, and we actually did this one. I'm trying to think. Oh, Dan once again. I'm coming to really love Dan. I know some people might see him a bit of a diver and a bit of a, but he plays it well. He almost has a bit of, not exactly. He reminds me a little bit of Wilf with the sort of making do with what he can, trying his best type of character that we had in Wilf.
But his character is being developed.
Yes, he's actually risking things. He's being put in danger.
Yeah, and I think I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I think he's better than Bradley Walsh. He so far has been one of the highlights of this series so far. The jokes are on point. And even again with the Cavanese, the fucking him and the dog. Again, the banter between those two, and you can see now that the dog is respecting Dan a bit now because Dan actually did something. So there's a nice little moment with them at the end when Jody asks him, "Do you want to go in the TARDIS with me?" And
it's payoff.
There's
we're actually seeing Chibnall do payoff of something happening in an episode and it actually having results in the next one, which is something we've all said in the previous two series. Nothing felt like it had an impact beyond the episode it was in. So at least, and I actually think that having them, I like the ending because that's a good idea plot-wise to have the ships protecting the Earth because now the Doctor can go and investigate.
Yeah.
I know the Doctor's a time traveler, but it's a nice, neat thing just to say, right, this is why she doesn't have to worry about Earth so much now because there's a protection there.
Yeah.
And it actually is a clever bit of writing from Chibnall to have that.
Do you know what I liked about this?
So episode? Clever that he let the Sontarans in just before they turned up. Oh
yeah, come on, it's Chibnall. Nothing's perfect, but at least.
Look, we'll get into the not so perfect in a minute, Lee. I know you're dying, you're biting your lip there, but just wait for a second, right? Because there is still some positives.
I think just the main one is. The whole idea of time unraveling, like it's not a new concept. I won't say Chibnall's invented a brand new story idea, but at least that is something that seems to have impact throughout. We've had 2 episodes and we've had impact from time going a bit wonky, and the Swarm once again. It's something connected with the Swarm and the cliffhanger. I actually think that cliffhanger was so much better than the last week's.
I agree.
Because last week's just felt like it was just shouting at you, everything's going wrong, panic, panic, panic. Whereas at least with this one, you think, oh God, what's going to happen? Like, I don't care for Yaz as a character, but at least the companion is in threat for once in this run, which we've not had.
I don't know how she's going to figure this out because he said as soon as he clicked his fingers, it would start and our body would literally, our body wouldn't survive more than 2 seconds. So he's clicked his fingers now. So how is the Doctor going to sort this and resolve this situation?
And maybe that's the link to Yaz's exit. Maybe he's already planting how Yaz is going to go. And because maybe she does survive that, but she has like an illness or her body starts to shut down or something. So those were the positives. Like I said, I did enjoy this when it got going, and then we'll on the next round I'll talk more about. Once it got going, I actually was enjoying this more than last week. So and then that's my positives because I have got negatives, but we'll get on that.
Fantastic. Right. So Lee, I know this is probably going to be hard, but I'm only messing. But look, obviously, if you don't think there was any positives, we'll move on. But Did you have any positives?
Yeah, it's just a very short list.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I like the opening with the crooked house thing, which was there, which obviously relates to Dan's girlfriend disappearing into a house, wasn't it? I think that's related. That's probably a TARDIS or something. But it's not dropped anywhere else. If I was Chibnall, thank God I'm not, I would have dropped that again at the end, just to re-emphasize what, that this thing is somehow important. Right. Of course it isn't. It's, again, very pretty. Lots of interesting visual effects and things. The battle sequence was great. The massacre, I should call it, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that looked great. The Sontaran ships look fantastic. The music was actually a lot better. I like the sort of hat tip to Holst's Mars, the composition Mars, which is where he's clearly lifted that for the battle sequence. And what else? I love the Swarm and Azure scenes. I think they're very compelling villains.
I agree.
I like them a lot. I actually felt more on Team Swarm, quite honestly, today.
When he had his hand around Yaz's neck, I even during the watch along, I was going, please do it, just do it.
Do it.
Just kill a character now. Just
put her out of my misery.
But this is the thing. If he hadn't done that, I think this would have helped this episode with the shock factor.
I would have rated it 11 out of 10.
But go on anyway. What other positives have you got? Nobody mentioned the Sontarans, by the way, so far. Charlie, you never mentioned the Sontarans. Did you like, just very quickly, did you like the Sontarans in this episode?
I've got to be honest, they were the least interesting bit to me.
Okay. Lee, what did you think?
No, I agree with Charlotte. Again, Swarm is far more.
That's kind of negative, so just keep with the positive.
Swarm for me is the positive. I'm more interested in what's going on with them, than the Sontaran sideshow. And it does to me feel like this is kind of just filler. It's like, well, we've got a narrative story that we want to spin over 6 episodes. But we've got to fill it with familiar villains and have a sort of sideshow to the main plot, which is what this is. This is a subplot story.
Positive for now. I know that's kind of negative.
I'm doing my best.
We'll get into the negatives because there is negatives and we're not going to shy away from them. But is there anything else positive that you liked about the episode? What about Dan's performance?
I like Dan. I again feel he's too much of the expected comedian, being the comic butt of the joke kind of thing. I liked the fact that he has sort of initiative. He's quite daring.
His parents was funny in the car.
I just thought it was Chibnall trying to do an RTD. Look, I can do humans, and it just didn't work for me.
I can do a family.
Yeah,
and it just felt right. I'll address that later. But positives. I like the planet time temple thing, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I like these mysterious. I suppose they're going to turn out to be the Weeping Angels, aren't they? I mean, it just seems to me that they're going to somehow be connected.
Because I watched class and they were in a kind of a temple like that when the Weeping Angels came into class at the end of the cliffhanger. It was very interesting because they were kind of like in this sort of temple.
Well, they're like statues, aren't they? Standing there. I mean, and they're all women, so it's not really a stretch, is it, to assume that they've got something to do with the Weeping Angels? So I mean, it stands to reason to me, anyway.
Anything else?
God, I'm struggling here.
You're actually struggling this week, are you?
I am.
It's going to be very interesting to hear what you say about the rest of it. But if you want to leave it there, and I'll move on to the other three guys there, and then we'll get into the what was wrong, because there was some stuff even I was even saying to Jordan watching it, but we'll get into that.
Yeah,
move on. Move on. Okay, Marty, we'll go with you next. What positives have you got for this week's episode?
I feel the same as what I did last week. I thought it was good. I mean, as you say, normally he falls apart about the second and third episode, but yeah, it was good. I like the Sontarans for once that they weren't the butt of the joke. Yes, they had their funny moments, funny lines and stuff, but it wasn't OTT like Strax. Yeah, Mary Seacole done very well. I think the actress that played her was very good.
Brilliant. She's brilliant.
Dan, I love him every time I see him. I love him more and more. I think I'm on the same fence as you now. I think he is the best character. I probably will say this already 2 episodes in. He is starting to become. He will probably become for me the best character Chibnall's written and companion. And if he keeps it up, he may well end up being one of my favorite companions of all time.
Wow.
He may well end up like that. The whole, scene with his parents and all. I know there was people saying that his parents were sort of. You probably could have left them out of it, and he could have went his own way. But I thought they added to him for character development. But yeah, he is really growing on me, John Bishop, and even that cliffhanger at the end was very was very I was you just sort of were sucked in. I felt,
yeah.
But yeah, overall now, I'm sort of on the same fence as yourself. It sort of remains on par for me, like what last week's was. If there was a dip in sort of quality, I certainly didn't notice it. But yeah, it was engaging. Maybe it might have been a wee bit slow to get started and all, but yeah, there was a few wee bits. I'll get into it later, but there was a few wee bits. I was like, but I let it slide, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, overall, very good episode.
Right. Well, so far, pretty mixed on the panel. I think that's a fair assessment so far. But everybody has managed to come up with some positives so far. So that's good, because we struggled during series 12 and 11 to come up with any positives. So it's actually nice to hear that people are coming up with positive. So we've got Sigma left, next, I should say, and then we have got Real Super Doctor. Sorry, and I just got a message off the wife. Have you stopped using the webcam already? No, I'm just having a cup of coffee, and once I'm finished, I'll be back on camera. I've been on camera. I used the camera for the last stream.
He had it while he was watching, love. We could see him fully when he was watching it.
Yeah, I'll put it back on now in a few minutes. It's just, as I said, I'm having a cup of coffee. I just want to relax for a bit, because even though you're watching it on, I don't know, maybe it's because I am getting older, but it takes a fucking lot out of you. Jesus Christ, I had to just relax for 15 minutes. It took me 15 minutes to make a cup of fucking coffee, for God's sake. Because I kept fucking forgetting about the kettle. I'd switch it back on, and then I realised, stream's in 5 minutes. I better change that. But let's move swiftly on, and then we can get into the nitty gritty of the whole lot and talk about some of the negatives, because there were some, and we do have to discuss them also. You know, we're not here to blow smoke up Chris Chibnall's backside. We're here to give it an honest appraisal. So we'll go with Sigma later. What positives have you got for this week's episode, Nick?
Well, the same as last week, really. I had a fun time with this episode. I didn't come out feeling disappointed or questioning why I even bothered. Right. I loved the Sontarans. It was great seeing them actually being treated seriously for a change, because they became a bit of a joke under Moffat. And as much as I love Strax, it was great seeing Dan playing a different Sontaran this time with a slightly more serious edge, but still with an undertone of that comedy element.
Yeah.
But like Charlotte said, they were very much the side quest of this story. I'm far more interested in Swarm and what his motivations are and what he's doing. And again, he just stole the show for me again. Like Lee said, when he grabbed Yaz by the throat, I was like, straight away, I was like, they're not going to do it, surely. And I was very disappointed that it didn't happen.
I think a lot of us were. I was praying that.
It's like, come on, we haven't had a companion death in years. Give us something. And but yes, overall, really enjoyed it. I had fun. The Sontarans were great. The setting for the war was great. And I'm fully invested in Swarm. I want to know what this guy's about, what he's doing. I need to know.
Do you know what? I will agree with that statement. I think if we looked at the villains, Jordan, the last two series, right? In series 11, we had Tim Shaw, and we all criticised how bad Tim Shaw was. Like, he shows up in the first episode, then apparently we're made believe that, like, by the time we get to the last episode, he turns up, and we're supposed to just buy the fact that everything that's been happening during series 11 somehow he's had his fingers in it or so. It just didn't work. But with this character, there is the one thing I will actually say about this episode. When we saw the three people, right, standing at the containers, 4 people, I think it was 4 people or 3 people, they were spying on the Sontarans, and they executed them. Like, we saw an execution, right? Yeah. And then during the battle, there's a 4 soldier on the ground, and I think he's already dead. And the Sontaran goes over with his gun and just shoots the body on the bloody ground. Like, I have to actually say, and then with Yaz being grabbed, I will say this: he hasn't shied away from the violence side of it, has he? There is a sinister undertone to this series if you look at it. So I quite enjoyed that. I know that sounds a bit weird, like, but I've wanted Doctor Who to kind of be a little bit darker, because it's been too much of a children's program the last 2 years. But he's up the ante in that respect. He has no problem with killing bleeding humans in this anyway, so far. And then we saw the massacre. Like, it literally was a massacre. They had no chance. Like, gone, wiped out. So that's what I liked about the Sontarans anyway. But go ahead, Sigma. Any other positives before we move on to Real Super Doctor?
I suppose the other positive I can say is that I really enjoyed the moments between Vinder and Yaz as well. It's like, bloody hell, there's actually chemistry and a connection going on here. I can believe these two can potentially go somewhere.
God, yeah.
Either as friends or as a couple, whichever it may be. I can believe there's something going on there. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go as well.
Yeah, the Jody stands won't like that one now, I have to say. We all know where they want Yaz to go, what direction they want her to go. But yeah, I did like that myself, I have to say. As I said, there looked like there was genuine chemistry there, which again is something I can't believe I'm actually saying. But let's move on to Real Super Doctor, because Jordan, the watch along, at the start, he wasn't too impressed, and then I was looking in the chat as well, as you could see. I was looking in the chat while I was watching as well at the same time, and I could see his comments start changing, the tone of his comments start changing. So I'm actually intrigued to listen to what Real Super Doctor has to say. So, what are your positives for this week's story?
Well, the positives is the Sontarans. I think the Sontarans are really menacing in this, and I think they're a lot better than what they were in the RTD and the Moffat era, which is the comedy was still there, but it was very little. I did like this episode felt like an episode of Doctor Who. I'm not going to lie, it did. I liked the character of Vinder and with Yaz. There was chemistry there, and I did like that. And I did like when Jody had just pulled out a slingshot from her pocket and just fired it at the back of the Sontaran's vent. I thought that was quite funny, and there was quite a few funny scenes in it, and it did make me laugh. Even Dan having it was like a kind of walk and hitting the Sontaran in the back with the walk and that, and the Sontaran passed out and that, and the wee joke there. But at the start, the start was kind of a bit slow, and but I quite enjoyed most of it anyway. So it's not a bad episode.
Wow.
At all.
Do you know what? I think this was an improvement on last week, but
yeah,
we're gonna get in because there are some negatives, right? And we can't ignore them. Firstly, for me, I'll just give my opinion because, as I said, there's no point in me doing a review when I'm on the panel and I literally talk and tell you how I feel about the episode. So, the pace, we talked about the pace last week and during the week, and we said, could it keep up the pace? And Lee had a concern, which I will get to Lee to first, and then we'll go with Charlotte, but because I want to get Lee's opinion on this, and then because obviously we did speak about the pace. But it considering how fast it was last week, right? The first I'd say 10 minutes, 15 minutes of this episode kind of dragged in. And you know, after the pace that we had last week, this was the worry, actually. Now, it didn't turn out to be a big issue in the end, but still, right, okay. We got a bit of character development for characters that he showed last week. But here's my thing. Is there enough? Was there enough? That's the thing, because you obviously introduced another new character this week, so you have to focus on the new character. Also, the companions were separated from the Doctor as well. Now, there is positives to that, and the positive would be that we got less of Jody Whitaker, and less of Jody Whitaker is always good. So, because, you know, the scenes with Dan, I mean, Dan walking around with a walk is and hitting something is the one that I don't care. Look, I was worried that he'd end up being a bit of an idiot, but there's more to him. And yes, he will have idiot moments because that's Chibnall. He will throw that in there. But if we get a balance to it, then I've never had a problem with it. But you have to have the balance, and right now he has got it right. But going back to the Swarm, right? Now, everybody is talking about how great the Swarm is, and I do agree, right? There's a definite threat there. The actor that's playing the lead is just amazing. But was there enough character development? Did he move on the characters in this story? And I would actually have to say no, I don't think there's enough, which worries me for the third episode, because as I said, he likes to throw a curveball in there to distract you. And Vinder, I know everybody, yeah, Jacob Anderson is brilliant as Vinder, but again, was there enough character development there for me? So if he was, say, for example, in danger in the next episode and say his life was on the line, would I care? Right now, I'd have to say no. The only character that I do care for right now is Dan. I do want to find out what the Swarm's all about, but for me, there's not enough there. I'm not losing interest in the Swarm, but there's not. I'm sorry, for me, there should have been more character development there. Then you got your guy from Liverpool in the 1800s or whatever it was with the top hat.
Yeah, that was silly having him in there.
Rambles a few lines. What was the point of bringing him in just to ramble a few lines? Like, we want to know more about the tunnels. Why? You know, that's what I was looking for. What else? The pacing. Yeah, at the start it was very slow, but then it started to move a little bit. But look, it was better than last week. But for me, I'm going to say I'm a little bit disappointed that some of the characters that he introduced last week didn't get more well, maybe I was expecting too much, but I was expecting a lot more character development than we got. And the problem you're going to run into is, and the reason why, is because not only do you have to develop those characters further, when you introduce another new character, then you have to focus them, and it takes attention away and focus away from the characters that you're supposed to be developing that are going to play a bigger role in this whole overall story. So that's my one disappointment. That's the biggest one for me, is I don't think there was enough character development from the main characters. Yes, Dan got more character development. Yaz got a little bit more character development, fair enough. But the main people that he introduced into this era, like Vinder and the Swarm, for example, is there enough there to keep me interested in them? Right now, I'd have to say no. And that's where I stand on it. So, Lee, I'll just leave it to you. So, what are your sticking points to this episode? What was the thing that?
Well, so many, really.
Go ahead.
I don't even know where to start. I really don't. I mean, yeah. Look, there were some good moments with the Sontarans, especially like with the firing squad, the battle sequence. That was very menacing. The Sontaran ships, great. But they are a joke again, because there's Dan standing in the middle of the fucking empty road. There's a ton of fucking Sontarans, and they're shooting their laser weapons at him, and they can't hit him for toffee. And then they just run after him, and it's just, again, a joke. And the whole... Oh, the frying pan.
I didn't like that scene. That scene was actually ridiculous. How did he get away from those lasers? Like,
it's lazy. It's so lazy. And again, you know, like, I just don't think they can get the Sontarans right. Okay, you've gone all this length, right, to make the Sontarans menacing and to look almost right, and then you still put them into this comical trap. You look at the original Sontarans; they weren't this comical. They were sinister. They hissed, right, and they intimidated people, and they tortured them, right, hang them out, you know, starve them to death, that kind of stuff. You know, vicious. I mean, they had that element, but again, it's a bit difficult to take them seriously when, you know, they're just making a mockery of themselves. You know, I just think it's a missed opportunity to drag them back.
What did you think about, because you're talking about the Sontarans, what did you think about the fact that their suit, that they could only stay out in Earth's atmosphere for a certain amount?
A Deus Ex Machina. Again, this is typical of Chibnall, right? So this is how do we wrap this up? I know, we'll make this convoluted plot about how their suit keeps them alive and blah 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 blah, and we get them all in the ship, and then leave absolutely no fucking defenses other than a fucking child's climbing frame with a few fairy lights on it outside. And there's no defense whilst they're all stuck in the ship. Right, but there's no motion detectors. There's nothing that, I mean, you can have a fucking motion detector on a bunch of, performance art moving statues in this temple place, but you can't have one for the Sontaran ship, which is vulnerable for attack. And there's no, and at the end they managed to blow up all these giant, massive Sontaran, super fucking technological spaceships with a few barrels of gunpowder. Really?
Yeah, I didn't like that scene, but I will agree with you on the whole alarm thing, because if you look at
ridiculous.
Season 4, when the boy genius and when
why didn't we just wait for them? Why didn't we all notice before that they need to go inside their spaceships for ages and they leave no defenses? Why didn't we just go and blow them up with some gunpowder before? Let's kill all the fucking soldiers for no reason at all whatsoever. When we, anyone with a brain and a pair of eyes could have seen, well, actually, if we look at what they're doing, they're just going inside the spaceship.
I can understand why the general did it, though. I can understand why the general did it, but it was so lazy how it came to that conclusion. Like, do you know what I mean? I do agree with you. It's
ridiculous. And then Dan gets on board a Sontaran spaceship. It takes him fucking ages to notice that someone's using their communication devices on the ship. It took them how long to work it out? And then he turns, and then they all turn up, and then again they can't shoot for toffee. And then Doggo turns up and waves his little axe around and takes out 4 or 5 Sontarans in one go. How the fuck did he get on?
He teleported on. So he teleported.
Oh, right. So he just teleports onto a highly technological Sontaran spaceship, and no one is notified.
But it makes sense, though. Their shields are down and they're prepared for war.
They're the most vulnerable, and you're telling me these Sontarans who built a space empire can't have some kind of intruder alarm on their spaceship?
No, they did in Series 4, which I'll agree with you with. That was lazy by Chibnall, because they even had one in Series 4. So I don't understand why there wasn't.
Because plot needed to happen. They needed to wrap it up. That's why, and that is why it's lazy, and that's why I'm annoyed, because it's it takes no thought to contrive something at the very end. Well, how do we wrap this up? Well, let's make it so that this happens, that happens, and then everything, dust the hands off. It's awful. It's claptrap. It's badly written. Sorry, Chibnall. Could have done better. Could have been better written. Right. And again, like the whole Sontaran thing, with the build up to the battle sequence, which, as I suspect, would be the money shot, apart from the sort of ships exploding, as they do, is they leap through this tunnel, fly out of the spaceship at the back, exhaust somehow, and then land in the water, completely bone dry, by the way. I mean, it's like you saw them flying out the back of the Sontaran spaceship as it hurls towards all these other ones, blows them all up somehow, and then they land, I assume, in the water, and they come out fucking bone dry.
Yeah, because Dan was hanging on to they were getting out of the water. You're absolutely right. But Gavin Easter was wet because he shook like a dog, and then he made Dan wet. No, they were wet.
Should have been soaking wet anyway.
Yeah, I think they were wet actually. But go on, what else? What else were you disappointed with? Get it on out. Get it on. This is like a therapy session.
The Doctor in this couldn't have been any more insufferable than she's been in the past. This was just like the whole fucking exposition dump, and having the general there and having him seated there like a naughty schoolboy, and he's like, "Please help me, Doctor."
Yeah, but and then a female doctor, and he said that to a male doctor. I don't think you'd be saying that.
There wasn't a female. You didn't have female doctors back in that time. You didn't.
I know that, but we have one now.
But yeah, but let's again, Chibnall applying. Let me get this across. Like, he's applying the postmodern lens of the 21st century on those times again. And it's disingenuous. You're not presenting history properly. Okay, it's in a science fiction context, but for fuck's sake, you know, the Doctor will be aware of this.
Right, but in fairness, though, you know, the General did lose all his men. He was emotionally unstable at that stage because you seen what he did.
Because it was written that way, Noel. This is the whole reason it's written to be. No. The reason it's written to be that way is to make sure that the Doctor has leverage over him to tell him what a terrible fucking man he is. Again, and I'm sick to fuck of this. Right, this is disrespectful. And then at the end, he does the right thing by somehow blowing them up with gunpowder. Really, and then she lectures him. They said they were going to come back. Like, they wiped out his entire fucking army. I'm sorry, this is hardly the same situation as the sinking of the Belgrano, where they're retreating. They weren't retreating. They said themselves, even though they might have been swallowing humble pie, but they said, you know, we're just going to go away and regroup, you know, basically. Yeah. So he did the right fucking thing. These people want to annihilate everyone, right? That's the threat. He had an opportunity, he fucking took it, and she told him off for it. Fuck off. Fuck the fuck off. And then not only that, then she fucking all this extra. Sorry for the swearing, but I am wound up by this episode.
Wow.
And then with all of that, all this exposition dump throughout the entire episode, she's and fuck's sake, please can the sound person on this fucking production sort your shit out, because I cannot hear what people are saying. Right, you got the music, and there should be a dip in the music so the voice can cut across. Right, it's called side chaining. Use it, right? Because I couldn't hear what was being said half the time, and I go, what? Speak up. You know, it's frustrating, and you're missing out.
I listen to it in a pair of earphones, and even with a pair of earphones, it's actually
it's
quite difficult. I'll agree with you there. I don't know
dreadful.
What is going on there with the sound mix, but it is.
What's more important, the music or what's actually been said? In Chibnall's case, nah, I'm not so sure, but so that's that. I mean, I just find this. We're going back to very, very Chibnall territory, and I'm sick to fuck of it. I've been sick to fuck of it for some time. That's why I stopped watching it, because of the fucking hectoring and lecturing. Done with it. So going back on this is just true to form, and it didn't take long. Like the last episode, we didn't have that. That's why I was entertained, because I didn't get taken out of it by this fucking nonsense. It's terrible. It's really undermining. And it's this whole issue of having to empower the female characters by admonishing and diminishing the male ones. Every stupid fucking which way but loose. Done with it. We get it. You want us virtue signal about female empowerment, but if you feel that the best way of doing that is to make the male characters look weak and stupid and bad or whatever, that's not doing anything. It just makes them look smug, and that's not how you write strong female characters. That's a sleight of hand. People should wise up to this, right? No matter which side of the curtain. This is not writing strong female characters, okay? This is absolutely not how you do that. And as for Mary's
Seacole.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just wound up. Mary Seacole, yeah. She was not a nurse. She was not a nurse. And again, this is very, very, this goes back to what happened in academia a number of years back, and within the curriculum, where they denigrated Florence Nightingale to boost, again, this is what they do. They denigrate, diminish, and admonish other people to raise and elevate the other. But the way that they put in her own mouth, the character of Mary, in her own mouth, admonishing or kind of sidelining Florence Nightingale, saying that
She had a dig at her.
A dig. She was in the Crimea. She was there. If it wasn't for Florence Nightingale, more lives would have been lost in the Crimea, because she was the one who challenged the brass class to improve the sanitation conditions in the hospitals and hygiene and all these other things. She fought hard against the establishment in order for improvements to be made, which saved lives. Mary Seacole, she ran a restaurant. It wasn't a hotel. She called it the British Hotel, but it wasn't a hotel. It wasn't a hospital either, right? She was a capitalist, okay? She was not a social justice warrior. She was not a brave, stunning woman. Brave in her own way, of course. You know, she set up her own business, failed, by the way. And she was made wealthy at one point from gold mining. Okay, so she came from a position. She called herself Creole. She was from Scottish and Jamaican heritage. She disliked her African black roots or Jamaican roots. She would use the N-word frequently. She celebrated when some of the soldiers blacked up for entertaining the troops. She was an anti-Semite. She called Greek people evil looking and stuff like that. I mean, the woman was not a saint. She was not a nurse. She was not a doctor. And I've already seen someone on Twitter say, "Oh, today I've learned that Mary Seacole was a doctor." This is how manipulative Chibnall's willing to be with these guys. It's quite interesting because, okay, look, a lot of historical figures that we've seen in Doctor Who, like Churchill and so on and so forth, have all said pretty abysmal stuff in the past, right? So we don't present that in Doctor Who. Fair enough, but I'm a huge fan of Tesla, for example. His work, not him as a human being particularly, because he was also an odious fucking creature. He would say Polish people or Jews were inferior race and stuff like that. I just think maybe you should pick, certain historical characters a bit more carefully if you're going to present them in a particular light, let's say. This whole notion that she was something that she isn't, and presenting it as fact, again, it's just so typical of the BBC and Doctor Who in the current year. This stretches back to Capaldi, and it's very, very postmodernist nonsense, and to denigrate the work and the value of what Florence Nightingale actually did is absolutely unforgivable, frankly. And it's just in a throwaway line, just to elevate her character and put her in this light. And I'm sorry, she was a good woman to a point. She was a racist, mind you, a self-loathing racist, I may add. She hobnobbed with the officer class, not the lower class. Yes, she did bandage people and she did administer traditional medicine where she could. Absolutely. Was she a nurse? No, she was actually rejected for nursing because she had no training.
Yeah, no.
And she was also in her 50s, so she was too old, according to the standards that they had set up, because the nurses were young. That's also to do with morale for the troops, as you will know. But it's this constant revisionism of history, this idealized version of history that they openly admit that they want to present. And it's a falsehood. And it's not, if you look at what Doctor Who used to be about when it was presenting history, in the Hartnell areas as sort of infotainment, that sort of edutainment kind of thing. This is not the same thing. It's revisionist. And it's dangerous. And I think if you're going to look at black nurses, or first, look at the first NHS black nurse and her story. What about bringing that character, or bringing Florence Nightingale in this? Because I think that's actually more valid. I'm not trying to denigrate Mary C. Cole as a person, particularly, other than, you know, she was open to as many foibles as anyone else. But to present her as this pivotal character is simply not correct, and it's again trying to change history to make it look better and to create this thing, and it's not right. It's denying the facts of history, denying the real human being behind that character. You know, I'm not here to denigrate her. I'm just trying to present some of the omitted facts about this character. And she actually wrote an autobiography, a journal, and you can actually read some of the batshit crazy stuff that she said, and pretty racist shit she said as well. But you know, that's neither here nor there. But you know, I just wanted to get that across. The fact that Florence Nightingale was dismissed in one line. It's absolutely atrocious, and shame on the BBC for letting that pass. Quite honestly, that really fucking angered me. So yeah, I mean, I don't know where else to go. I mean, like, again, at the end we had the countdown. We had the countdown. Obviously, you got to have a countdown. I mean, it's Chris Chibnall, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Obviously, for that fake tension, and the Thanos finger click. And oh, what a wonderful cliffhanger! And then in the next week, and everyone's fine. So where's the cliffhanger? What's the point of having a fucking cliffhanger if you're then going to expose in the very next what's coming up next week? You can see everyone's just fine and dandy, and everything's not fine and dandy. I mean,
that annoyed me actually, because that would ruin that
really gets to me.
Why didn't they just?
They did that last time.
Cybermen, and we seen the Weeping Angels. Why not just start the trailer like that with the Cybermen and Weeping Angels and give nothing else away? Like, but he's let the cat out of the bag now for next week. We know they're going to get out of the situation, no problem. So
see, I didn't see that trailer, so I didn't know that.
Oh. Okay.
But that's the saying, like, why not? You know, if you're going to do the next time trailer, obviously the whole focus was trying to be on Yaz there at the end. So why the hell not just cut Yaz or the next time trailer? Just keep her out.
Yeah, that would have been a bit more.
That involves a little bit of thinking, you know, which is not the strong point.
Well, we'll find out what Charlotte, because like, you know, if
I went on for a rant there, but I just had to get across how. Fair, absolutely abhorrent that was, and people should be offended for Florence Nightingale on this, because this is just revisionist history, and it's so typical of the BBC, so typical of postmodernism and Marxism and the BBC and all this Chibnall crap that we've had for the last few years, creeping back in again. And I'm sorry, no. This has to be resisted, because you're trying to rewrite history and claim to be the good guys for doing it. No one is a good person for trying to destroy truth.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Charlotte's opinion now. Charlotte, go ahead.
Yeah. A different thing that really got on my wick actually is, how on earth did the Sontarans not know the Doctor's a female yet? We had a whole plot line about them basically not knowing she was female, and I'm sorry, this isn't her first series. I don't buy that the big enemies of the Doctor do not know this yet. She has had enough adventures, she has done enough things at this point. I mean, it would be known. I'm sorry, the Doctor's a big enough figure at this point in the universe that it would be a point that it just so other enemies wouldn't be able to be caught out. That really did my head in, and I'm sorry, I don't want to keep seeing this plot point repeated, because we've had this nearly every series now, when somebody's gone, "Oh, you used to be a bloke."
It was sort of like when you said about the female, but he sort of had a skeleton. What? What would?
Yeah.
What
And I'm like, I'm sorry. That's what got me angry. Like Lee was the Mary Sequel thing. That's the thing that, and then I'm sorry how she acted at the end of the episode. Basically having a go at that general when he did do the right thing. He just had his whole bleeding battalion wiped out by the Sontarans, and you're going to stand there and lecture him. And that's what that was. That was a lecture. That was the old Jody. Well, it's not the old. She's not changed that much. But that's what we've not wanted. We've hated for the last 2 series.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, you're going to tell me the same character that gave that speech as Peter Capaldi about war, about how you don't know the repercussions of your actions, about how it damages you, about how it corrupts you, it hurts you, and you carry that hurt. You're telling me that she couldn't understand where that general was coming from? That she couldn't... I don't understand why they're writing Jody like this. Why has his character got no sympathy left? Why they?
Now I know why the TARDIS is dying. It's suicide.
Yeah, probably.
She say something like it's been infected or something. Yes, you.
Because all the sympathy.
No
empathy. And like I said, and here's the if there's one thing that the Doctor would have sympathy about, it's bleeding war. Because of the Time War, and this is what does my head in about this era in general. It's like it doesn't want to understand what the Doctors have done before this incarnation, and they'll just do their own thing. And like she was, and like there was other moments when she, when she was talking to the General, she was just snotty the whole time through. And I understand he shouldn't have done the battle, but also she didn't seem to. No, it gets worse than that, because from my understanding, history had been rewritten that the Sontarans were basically part of Earth's history, just like any other big enemy. So of course he's going to fight the battle. Of course he's going to think, I've got more men.
You're going to listen to a mad woman who turns up in the middle of fucking nowhere, just ranting on about all this. I mean,
I know better than you. I know better than you. It's basically what she was saying. Which, yes, of course, the Doctor does know the Sontarans, but this is what she didn't understand. This isn't the Sontarans from her timeline. This is the Sontarans from a completely different, almost alternate universe timeline now.
Yeah, and they just slipped in. They just slipped in, and the doggos are too busy or something.
Because they've literally taken over a country of Russia. Like Russia doesn't exist now. It's Sontar. So the way she was acting throughout the whole of this with the General really got my go. And like at the beginning when she was confused, why have her be that confused? I think anybody who's watched more than a couple of series would have gone, oh, time's been rewritten. But the Doctor took her about 10 flaming minutes for her to work that out. She's just spent the first 10 minutes questioning everything, doing the stupid routine that this Doctor constantly does.
Oh, yeah, talking to herself, working things out.
Is to ask 50 questions. I mean, the dialogue at the beginning of this episode was doing my head in. It was just characters stating the obvious, asking questions out loud to each other, and just Jodie being confused. And for all, we said, I know you said, oh, she's a little bit better last week. Why can they not write this Doctor being in control of anything?
Yeah.
Why is she just always on the
permanently
back foot?
Flustered? Yeah,
permanently flustered, permanently on the back foot, and then she has a go at the General, and it's just like, and I think
I wanted to punch the screen at that point. I really was so angry with this.
And also, I think I saw somebody say in your chat, it was a blatant copy of the Christmas Invasion, the ending, when Harriet Jones destroyed the ship.
Yeah,
it was you just swap out the characters, it was exactly the same. So that even more got and the intendance thing, it made sense because they were retreating, they were defeated. The Sycorax. And they whereas Lee said, this is the Sontarans. They're not going to back away. They're going to come back. So it made sense in the Christmas invasion for the Doctor to be furious and to do what he did. But it made no sense, Jodie's reaction. And like you said, I think what you was, just to comment a little bit on what you were saying about the development, I think what he's done a little bit better this series, he's picked better actors. He's picked actors that can do a lot with not a lot of script being given to them, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's picked actors that have a lot of personality naturally, that have a lot of charm naturally, that they don't need brilliant script, and you can sort of like go, I like that character. But like you said, if you actually look at what they were given writing wise, they didn't do a lot to go forward with many.
Can I just say as well that the battle sequence, like after they had the parley, and then you had that terrible CGI of the army behind the Sontaran. I didn't even know what the name of the Sontaran general was, but you don't just go from a parley and then go, right, war now, and they all chop. That doesn't happen, right? That at least have a fucking military expert to understand how you do strategy and how you do I mean, it looked great, but that's not how you fight a battle, right?
Yeah.
It's completely wrong.
Yeah,
I'm willing to overlook that, but that's a nitpick, but annoying.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't find the Sontarans annoying. I just didn't find them interesting, and they were the namesake of this episode. So
they were weak.
I think he needed to do a bit more with them, personally, from me, because
not one alarm went off, Charlotte. Not one alarm.
Yeah.
And Dan was using that intercom for a few minutes before anyone realised. Like, what?
Yeah, I've just seen Blasphemous comment. Blasphemous, there were some really good bits in this episode, but there were also really... Do you know what it is? I think, however good he makes these episodes, you have the core factor that he does not understand the Doctor.
Let me address this. Let me address this comment.
And there's an actress who can't play the Doctor in the centre of all of it.
Absolutely. Let me address this comment here. God, it's a show about a time traveling alien. Yes, I know. I've been watching it 40 odd years, right? I know what the show is. My bloody perspective is I haven't been able to enjoy my favourite show for the last 5 fucking years. So excuse me if I find some fault in it that you don't like. Tough.
Yeah, actually,
right?
If you had to watch the start of the stream as well, you would have seen that we actually spoke about the positives.
Yeah.
We started off with positives. So before you come in and make a comment, because obviously you've just arrived, go and watch the whole stream before you make such a silly comment. And we're going to leave it there. We don't need to address it any further.
And it's not nitpicking. It's look, one thing you can overlook, 2 things you can overlook, but it's consistent patterns with Chibnall, right? One thing rolls into another, and it's a snowball effect. You can't just ignore things and just let it ride and go, well, that's fine. It's just a time traveling show. Who cares? Look,
people do care.
Yeah, of course I care. I mean, you want to talk about bloody perspective. Well, my perspective is that this was not good, and that's tough if you don't like it. If you think I'm nitpicking, if you think I don't have any bloody perspective, well, what are you here for? You came here to get a review, our opinions on this show. I'm giving it to you. You don't have to like it, right?
Yeah,
but I'm telling you my honest opinion. That's all.
And like I said, if you look at the pattern of all the positives we've been saying, it's technically all the auxiliary characters. It's the villain, it's the new companion. It's nothing we've seen from the last 2 series, which is impressing us. It's all
when you
the
say
new
something
characters.
positive, it's all wonderful and everyone likes you. But when you say anything negative, you're just nitpicking, or you're just being negative, or you don't have any perspective. No, right? This works both ways, and that's just the way it is. I'm sorry if you don't agree with me. That's fine. You're entitled to that. But I'm also entitled to say exactly how I felt on exactly what I was thinking about when I was watching and what took me out of the story. If something takes me out of the story, it's not a nitpick, right? It's something that jars me out of the story, and I will report on it and tell you my honest opinion.
Yeah, and just to add to that, if I think the Doctor, who's the main character in this show, is not being written like the Doctor, then that's a pretty big turn-off.
She can't carry water, let alone a story. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She's the very least authoritative Doctor. That's what.
Go ahead, Real Super Doctor. You can go next anyway. Go ahead. Go ahead, Real Super Doctor. You can go next.
I was quite disappointed in Jody Whitaker's performance, but I wasn't surprised by it. I mean, I was expecting her confrontation with the Sontarans saying, "Oh, the Doctor used to be a man," and I thought she was going to turn around and say, "Oh, look, I've had an upgrade," and all that, and being all cocky and all that, and that's kind of partly what I was dreading. But they were trying to kind of avoid that. But Jodie Whittaker always comes off as unconvincing. It's by every kind of performance that she does as well. And I just think, as Charlotte says, the Doctor is the lead of the show, and because he's the main character, he or she is the main character. I mean, it's got to be kind of focused on the intelligence of the Doctor and how the Doctor can work out the situation. I mean, in this episode, Jodie Whittaker was given a rubbish load of dialogue. I mean, it was about car engine parts or something like that, and trying to work out the situation like that, and at the end, where it was discovered that the generals had blown up the Sontarans with gunpowder. I mean, it was totally ridiculous, that bit.
Yeah,
totally
I will say, for me, Jodie Whittaker is still weak as the Doctor. I've never understood the casting. If you were going to go with a woman, there was plenty of decent actresses around at the time as well. That they could have chose from, but he went with Jodie Whittaker.
It's not that, no. It's like, if you look at some Chibnall episodes and the way he's wrote Matt Smith, he's wrote Matt Smith as the Doctor. You know, I don't understand, why can't he write Jodie like that? Does Jodie not have that kind of intellectual strength and articulation to kind of pull? Well, she seems to lack articulation. The Doctor has, and the charisma the Doctor has, and the intelligence the Doctor has, and to me that it does come very contrived. It's almost like a fake performance. It's almost like someone's pretending to be something they're not. I just don't know. I just can't stand Jodie Whittaker's performances.
Yeah. Sigma, do you want
to? Yeah, I've got a few big negatives as well. I mean, I know I've praised the use of the Cybermen in this Sontarans rather in this episode, but I also have a huge gripe. Like the Sontarans are supposed to be geniuses of war. What kind of military might machine has all of their soldiers return to base to have a sit down and a cup of tea via probic vent and leave their doors wide open to attack?
Crazy!
Who does that?
Strategy. That's strategic genius right there. Yeah.
We shall leave our doors open. Sontaha.
Yes, exactly. And also, once again, Jodie really got on my nerves. I mean, I know, like Super Doctor said, we feared we were going to get that I've had an upgrade moment, but we still got the smug face.
Oh God, yeah.
I was like, oh God, if I could reach through a screen and slap somebody, it would be for that face. Jesus Christ. And her moral compass is still all over the place. It's like it's in the UK again. It was like, you've got the Trump standing guy who wants to shoot the spiders, give them a quick, semi-painless death, and then and the doctor's like, no, let's shut them in a cupboard and let them slowly starve.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like Lee said, the general had the right idea by blowing up the Sontarans, and she has a go at him. It's like, what are you on about, woman? Jesus.
You see, I think that was trying to be a lot of Doctor Who kind of moment. Which I've known, like, like the Doctor always turns around and says, like, why should I respect humans for killing another race and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, no, she even had a line where it was like, if men like you, which I was just like, oh, and like she had another line where basically she said to Mary, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, I don't know why I still protect humans. And Mary's like, and she's like, and she even, I think the next line was set from people like you or something to that regard.
Yeah.
So this, I agree with what Lee and what Sigma, I think this is he's now starting to creep back into the lecturing. He's starting to creep back into his political points already.
Productions, listen, like, I know you like Jodie, that's fine. But quite honestly, yes, Chibnall's writing is fucking atrocious, but her delivery is down to her. And I'm sorry, her delivery of the lines, however badly written they are, it's down to her to get them out in a convincing way. I don't believe that she believes that she is the Doctor. You look at Tom Baker, you can see he believes, even when he wasn't playing the Doctor in his real life, he wanted to be. He tried to emulate that because he saw it as an idealized version of himself. John Pertwee threw himself into it. He didn't know how to play the Doctor, but he was told, be yourself. She's far too contrived, right? She's trying to play it like a CB. Like, oh, this is a children's show, so I have to play it so the children will love me. And Tom Baker didn't do that. Children loved him, and he didn't patronize them. She patronizes you. With her performance, with her facial expressions, with her delivery of the crap lines that she's given to regurgitate. I'm sorry, it's a symbiosis, right? You've got the writer, you've got the director, you've got the actor, and all three of them are culpable in this. But again, you can't really polish it. You've miscast. I'm sorry, but to me, she's miscast.
Yeah.
Right. If they had cast, let's say, Michelle Gomez as the Doctor, like, let's just say, towards the end of A World Enough in Time, she knew that the 12th Doctor was going to die, and it might be his last regeneration energy, because at that point we didn't know if it was a full new cycle or what. You know, it could have been just that one extra life, right? And then she could have had a fob watch, put a regeneration energy in there, knowing she wasn't going to make it because she stabbed herself in the back, knowing herself too well, and then giving that regeneration energy to him, and that he would know what to do with it, and then boom, there she is as the Doctor and the Master or Missy, like, in one body or something. That would have been interesting. Right? Just an idea of mine. But like Michelle Gomez, when she stepped out of that TARDIS in World Enough in Time and said, "Hello, I'm Doctor Who," I believed her instantly in that one moment more than Jodie Whittaker's managed in 2 seasons and 2 specials and 2, or whatever it is, and these 2 episodes. In that one moment.
And the thing is, it's now showing because Chibnall is having actually good bits of writing in these 2 episodes. Because he's actually given us some characters we're interested in for the first time, or he's actually doing some good plot points. It's exposing her. And
but he's got the same problem that Moffat had, which was wrapping it up. Right, he creates all these plot points and all these convoluted things, and it's like, well, how do we wrap this up in a nice, neat bow? I know, we'll contrive something about the Sontarans we never really knew before, about how their suits are important to the survival, so they have to retreat back into their spaceship and just leave the doors open, and, like, you know, the shields are down or something, so gunpowder can wipe them all out, that obviously, and off they go. I have to retreat now. Bye.
But we already know that about the Sontarans, about the Probic vent.
We know about the vent, but not them having to retreat into their spaceship and all at the same time. By the way,
that's so stupid. You think half of the patrol would have been out and the other half would have been inside, and then they would have swapped.
And alarm systems, like a climbing frame for those little half.
Maybe their ships are from IKEA. Maybe their ships are from IKEA.
Did you notice? Did you notice something in the Sontaran collars? As the wee tiny balls, they were the exact identical like their original ships. The spheres that the Sontarans used to arrive in.
Well, those were the little ships, not the mother ships, though. Were they?
Yeah.
They were, personal vessels. I think.
Yeah, but I just think it's terrible.
Who have we not heard from? Marty, isn't it? So, Marty, what are your negatives?
Well, a lot of my negatives have sort of been said by Lee, believe it or not. There was a couple of lines, like, the whole, even like Charlotte has sort of basically covered, and Lee have covered what my problems were. Like that whole, the ship's been blown up at the end. It was just a complete rip out of the Christmas Invasion, like that last scene where, But I was disappointed because, how I said last week I thought the goofiness was going to disappear. It didn't. It wasn't as bad, in my opinion, in this episode, but it was still there. That was sort of the big problem for me. The whole scene where she's in doing the whole, like acting like a teacher in front of the soldiers was just, I cringed at that, and I thought to myself, this is so good. And then have we just, like, has Series 11 just come on again or something? Am I watching Series 11? But there was, to be honest, the majority of the episode, I thought I liked it. But as I say, once you guys start, like, I was even sitting there listening to you, and once you started breaking things down, it made me start to think more.
Yeah.
About
Sorry. I mean, you're probably gonna make a few people not think it's as good as it was.
So, like, I put on Twitter that my rating was 8 out of 10 for it, but I think it's going to be lower than that now. But yeah, the whole thing is, it's even like the likes of the cliffhanger, thinking about that, it was stupid with the next time trailer. Just certain lines just made.
Yeah, I should have turned off, actually. I should have fucking turned off the telly as soon as the episode finished, but I did myself. I'm gonna hang on and wait for the trailer, and then literally before saying, and you're like,
the one thing. I just some things, like, even like what Lee said, it's sort of like continuity is very bad. Like the fact that, and I didn't even notice it until I looked there again when you were talking, how Dan and Carvanista landed in the water, and yet when once Dan gets out of the water, there's not even a drop on him. And even like when they get into the TARDIS and the TARDIS lands on that place.
Maybe he landed on a double bed that just conveniently happened to be placed there.
Like, Jesus Christ, it's not hard to take John Bishop in before you film that scene in the place and just spray a hose around it to let all these wet or something.
I know. I just, oh God, that was just embarrassing. And the way that they were ejected from the ship looked like it'd been added in last minute. It's like, oh shit, we forgot to show them somehow leaving the ship. Let's just add it in later. It just looked like the ship was pooping Smarties. It's just ridiculous.
Could they not have just had like a scene where they jump into one of those pods and you see the pod land in the water or something?
Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that would have been.
And that's the thing, that the resolution with it, there was no threat at all. The Sontarans were safely all kept up in their spaceships, and they got taken out that way and forced to retreat. But there was no threat. Not only could they not shoot for Toffee, they had no alarms or anything. And then they just got wiped out by one dog man and a blade axe laser thing that cut through 4 of them at once somehow.
Yeah.
And that's it. That was all the Sontarans we saw. We had all those Sontarans on the battlefield victorious. And you're telling me they could only find 4 Sontarans in the entire ship after 5 minutes waking up and going, oh wait, someone's using our communications device and is somehow in our ship without triggering any alarm.
Yeah,
and oh god, fuck off, Chibnall. Fuck off.
Dan wasn't able to be shot by all those Sontarans. Like, I could see through it if it was like he landed on the street and there was one Sontaran patrolling the street and he ran away. I could get that, the fact that one Sontaran might be able to shoot him. But the fact that you have about 6 or 7 after him, it's like what Lee says, it's once I started to think about that, I was like, yeah, he's right about, like, sure, Christ almighty, like, one of them would have hit him. One of them should have hit him, like.
I thought that was funny, but I was thinking, now that everybody's talking, I'm just thinking of the Benny Hill music now while I'm watching it.
You know the DW,
and then like speed it up and slow it down, and
yeah. But what I will say is, sort of going away from the negatives, there's one thing, and I suppose he's can sort of, I don't know if any of you's noticed it. At the start of the episode, when she wakes up, it's in black and white.
Yeah.
She sees this house in front of her in these sort of forestry. There's people, well, even myself, I was thinking about it, speculating that house could be, now I don't know if any of you have read the novels from the 90s or anything like that. Longbarrow. Have you ever heard of Longbarrow?
Yeah. I know of the book, I've never read it.
Yeah, I don't know how. I've heard bits and pieces of it. It's been a while since I've actually looked at the whole plot of it. But a lot of these guys are saying Longbarrow, that house is Longbarrow. Now, Longbarrow, from my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, was the house that the Doctor belonged to on early Gallifrey. That was the house that she belonged to, and I think the Master had something similar to do with that too. I think he might have been a different house, but like the house is married or something like that. I could be completely wrong, but the guys in the comments will know more about it. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. But it could be nothing. It could be Chibnall just sort of teasing us. But as you were saying earlier, one thing I just forgot to say, I didn't like how the guy from the 1800s turned up. I thought that was just it was just pointless. I would have
just to remind you of the evil patriarchy. I mean, it's like you're not even trying to disguise it anymore. It's just like, what is the point? I mean, maybe the point will appear later. It'll be pivotal at some point. If he doesn't show up again, I wouldn't be surprised because it is Chibnall. But
it's stupid. Like, why not have it? Like, I would rather how I would have done that scene if it had been me was, if it was Yaz walking around or Vinder, why not have it where like the entire place is in here's the butt of the joke, Flux, where the guy, maybe you have your guy from the 1800s sort of appear for like a couple of seconds and then disappear. Or even Claire, maybe that would have been pointless too. But I just thought, if you're going to bring him in, do something with him. Don't bring him in for no reason.
Because also, if the only reason he was there to sort of explain what the house was or the temple, we have Yaz appearing afterwards or at the same scene, so we didn't need him to tell us that this isn't a normal place.
Maybe the house is the temple. The house we saw at the beginning, which looked beautiful. The crooked house at the start. Yeah. I thought that was stunning. I want to know more about that. Instead, we got this flashbang wallop again. But
it's funny now how I was just looking at that next time trailer and like the clips that are in it, and then I went back and looked at the trailer we got, the most recent trailer we got before the series come out. We after the next episode, right? I know we want to focus on this episode, but I just want to throw it out there. After the next episode, there is no other clips because there's a guy on YouTube, there's a guy on Twitter that is taking out the clips that we've already seen. And from what I've seen in that next time trailer, that trailer that we got was just clips from the first 3 episodes. There is nothing for the next 3 unless there's.
No, there's some actors that haven't popped up yet.
Oh, there's the few ones from the Weeping Angels that haven't
There's
appeared.
also Craig Parkinson. He was in
he's
the
in the next
trailer,
episode.
and is he in the next one? Okay.
Yeah, he's in the next one. But I can see Chibnall doing what he done. He done it for Series 11 and Series 12. After next week's episode goes out, they'll probably do like a mid-series trailer where like they'll have clips from the last 3 episodes.
See, I don't know, because Chibnall doesn't do stuff like that. He's not.
Well, he done it for Series 12.
Didn't he?
But like, I don't know. Like after from hearing what you guys have said about this episode, I have the fear now that the whole the old way is coming back into it. It's creeping its way into it. I hope that's not the case.
Do you know why this is better than the last two? Because they've changed the color of it. They've made it brighter. I'm serious. All right, it's a psychological fucking trick they're playing on you. They've made everything. They've ramped everything up. They've saturated it to the point where it looks like candy, right? So everything just looks. Seriously, everything looks so much more brighter and sharp. If you look at the last two series, the coloring was dour as fuck.
No, I agree with you. The color tone it was awful.
That's what is sucking you in. This is the hypnosis of the color palette that they're using to it. Oh, look, shiny things, and it's very much that. Yeah. It really is a lot. If you strip that away and just focus on the story and the performance. I mean, some of the performances were great, right? But some of it was the main cast. Let's be honest, are the weakest part of this. And it's absolutely stark, and that's why when I look at the first episode of this, it's so much to do with the saturated colors and all the CGI and all. It looks, look at this.
Yeah,
it's a distraction. You have to strip that away. I was entertained by that distraction because I was grateful for it, really, because I knew that if I focused too much on the story, I would be sitting there with my head in my hands. So I'm kind of grateful that I had that entertaining first episode because it distracted me from what I knew was shit underneath. It was glitter on turd, basically.
You're probably a bit like myself, Lee, because I'm sort of in this mindset, and I've said it before on here, and I don't know why it is, but every time there's a new episode, I just watch it at the start for like the enjoyment of it. But I have to go back again and watch it so I can break it down critically and say the points and get the points that you have said. So like once I'm finished on here, I'll go back and watch it again, and then I'll make up my own mind about it. But yeah, it's just sort of like this mental thing that I can't get away from. Like I'll watch it at the start, and even though it may be an average week episode, like I just see it as new Doctor Who. That's just
but I'm trying to cut down on my exposure to Jody Whitaker. So I'm trying to cut down because. But like
it's like what I was saying to Noel the other night. Noel and I spoke till what was it, like nearly 3 a.m. the other night.
Yeah.
And what I said was the whole thing was that at the time when Chibnall was cast Jody Whitaker, like I don't get me wrong, I cannot connect with her at all. She's on her way out, and I still cannot get. There's nothing there for me at all. Now you can blame her. You can blame.
Sorry. Can people stop rounding on people in the chat? Like just leave them be. Please, just don't engage with people like that. That's not what this chat is about. Please, people are welcome here. I don't want people to be picked on for anything. So can you just knock it on the head, please? Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't click with her at all. And as I was saying to Noel the other night, there's various different places on the internet and all that said that, when Chibnall was cast the Doctor, it was that several people have said that it was supposed to be between Jodie Whittaker and Vicky McClure. Now, you know me, like Daniel, you can even ask Daniel. Daniel watches Line of Duty. I watch Line of Duty. I just think that, if it had it been Vicky McClure in this position, had she been the 13th Doctor, I reckon that, she would have been carrying Chibnall's writing, but I think that she would have been a better actor to sort of say the lines. That's just, just based on like from what I've seen and what I've heard and all. It's just I can't connect with Jodie Whittaker at all. And my point is that had he went for somebody like Vicky McClure, I reckon it would have been, it would have been more bearable.
Yeah, can I, like, obviously, because we've talked about Jody, and that's not ever going to change.
Yeah.
Do you know what this is another thing? Like I said, some of this was really good, and I enjoyed bits of this a lot more better. But I have to think long term a little bit now. We're going to be on episode 3 next week. He needs to start wrapping up. He needs to start actually addressing these storylines and not just touching on them.
Oh, it'll be left
by
last
next
minute.
week.
I reckon it'll be
Because
left last minute.
The Swarm, he just sort of came at the end, and he was good again. But he sort of just came at the end to say, "Ha, Doctor, I've got one over on you again."
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't do anything story-wise in that.
You talk about wrapping up, and you're right. Like, you're 100% right, because
we've got 6 episodes, and we're going to be halfway next week.
Yeah.
And I will give him these 2 episodes of this grace period. But from next week, if he doesn't start tackling why the Flux appeared, why doesn't the Doctor know about the Flux still? Like, every other race on the planet seems to know what this thing is. Like, how? Like, what's the Swarm? What's this connection with her?
I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be next week's going to be Villain of the Week, Monster of the Week, and then towards the end of each episode, you're going to get a little bit more of what's going to happen. And it's all going to be resolved last minute in the final episode, more than likely.
Yeah.
I'm just going by the pattern that I've seen time and time again.
The problem is, Lee, he's still got characters to add that he hasn't touched yet. We've seen like I said, the random Victorian dude again, and he's not been advanced his storyline. We still need to know why the Claire storyline that wasn't touched upon this week.
Diane, where the hell she should have been
Dan's girlfriend.
Yeah,
that needs to be touched upon.
Yeah,
Vinda. Yes, we got a bit more, and I like the actor, but we didn't get a lot of backstory with Vinda yet.
He introduced too many elements in the first story. Now he has to pepper them throughout this limited run of 6 episodes. I think he could have done without adding all these convoluted character plot lines, because you don't have enough room for them all, I don't think.
I'm getting the feeling that he's going to start, that this could carry on into the specials. I reckon.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now.
Yeah.
If he's dragging it out I reckon he could drag it out to our last episode.
Yeah, I did say that last week. That could be the situation. Like, boy, look, I said it though. He had to kind of move it along. He didn't move it along enough.
I am far more. Listen, I am far more interested in the Swarm, Swarm character and Azure than I am with any Sontarans, any Cybermen, any of it, because we know what they are. We've been like, and a lot of people have said this. All the member of Bury is very good. It feels like Doctor. Yeah. We get it. Okay, but the thing is, Doctor is also about moving things forward, and that's something they've been crowing about with this Doctor, this era since it started. It's about progressive and moving things on, and and they tried that in season 11, didn't work, but. It's because I don't see I think Swarm and Azure as characters, villains, are the first time in this era under Chibnall I've seen any compelling villains whatsoever, right? And I'm interested to see if he can actually pull this off. And so I'm really focused on them more than I am on any sort of side attractions, like the fan pleasing Sontarans and all these other things which are coming in through this. Which I can understand. The Flux is creating this imbalance in time and all this things leaking through and all the rest of it. I get that, and of course you're going to have a lot of powerful entities like the Cybermen and Sontarans and whatnot coming in and stuff, but again, it is a side attraction, and yes, it may be entertaining or not in some cases, but ultimately the story isn't about them. They are a distraction to say, look, it's still Doctor Who. But I think he needs to show a bit more confidence in these 2 characters, and They are played beautifully, I will say, by the actors who play them, and I like the characters. I like the way they look. I like the way they sound. I like the way they are genuinely a threat. Very powerful. I can see that, but
we need more.
We need more.
We're getting to the point now
at this point.
And Raymond, to be fair, yes, in other series 6, and in some of Moffat's run, it was like this. But Moffat had 10, 11, 13 episodes to play with.
And Moffat was also fucking god awful in tying things up as well, don't forget.
Yeah, but my point is, other showrunners had 13, maybe a little bit less episodes. Chibnall's got 6.
Mm-hmm.
So if by next week he's not giving me more to do with, like I said, the Flux, more than just the Swarm or this big powerful villain, I need to know more.
Listen,
and not just some throwaway lines either.
Yeah, actual development.
To them. Like, that was what I was talking about last week, and I said, look, there have to be there'd have to be movement on character development and story development, and did we get that? We got some, but not enough, in my opinion. And some people in the chat were actually saying that, well, no, you probably won't address this midway through episode 5 and 6. Well, to me, that's a big mistake.
We shouldn't have to wait that long.
He's added so many threads in the very first episode that at least you would have to see some of them starting to come together. That's the point.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 episodes, you fill in the final threads. They're the threads that are going to wow the audience, trick the audience. You go one way or you can go another way. That's the way you build it up. But I don't see that right now, I have to say. It's kind of like it's stalled for me this week.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
We've got now... we've got the Cybermen, and then I think right at the end of that trailer, I don't know if it was the Ood or another Weeping Angel, but a Weeping Angel appears. I guarantee the Weeping Angel won't appear, right? So we put that in the trailer.
No, that'll be at the end of that episode, I reckon.
It's going to be anyway in the episode after that. So we already know that the Weeping Angels are going to come in again at some stage, but yet you threw it in the...
That scene will come in at the end of the next episode, I guarantee.
Yeah, they'll
into the next story.
They'll be like the Sontarans at the end of the last episode, just there to say
what's coming next. Yeah,
remember us? Woo!
I don't want to get into it, but there has been. I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to say my bit. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to speak any more about it because we've been here before. We know what this shit's like. We know how unreliable it can be. We know how reliable sometimes it can be. So basically, long story short, I said it in the chat earlier on before the stream started. Somebody has apparently leaked how the series ends. I'm not going to end it. I'm giving no details. You can go out there and find it if you want. You should go whatever. If you want it, I will. If you guys want it, I'll give it to you.
It's not the Reddit thing, is it?
No, it's not Reddit this time. It's on everyone's favorite forum, but it didn't originate there. It originated from a different place. Not getting into it. I can see Noel's face already. I don't want to discuss it. But
hang on after this stream ends and we can talk about it behind the scenes.
I don't want to give much detail about it, but from what I have seen about it, it's going to piss off fans of the Timeless Child and people who are completely against it. So he's going to fuck off everybody.
Listen, one thing I've learned in my life: compromise never pleases anybody, right? It especially when it's high stakes in terms of this is a very binary thing, right? It's Marmite, right? The Timeless Child is Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. There's no in between, right? No, I kind of like it.
Someone in the chat says it's from 4chan, and they're saying it's all BS.
Well, we thought the Timeless Child was BS until it ended up on our screen. So
was that on 4chan though?
Yeah.
But the Timeless Child was 4chan.
No, how reliable is 4chan though? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
No, like the 4chan, I wouldn't. I wouldn't trust that with my own toilet roll, frankly.
No, that's why I didn't want to read it out, because we just, do you know what I mean? I'm not.
Hold on. Is this already public knowledge? Like, are people talking about this openly?
It's been talked on everyone's favorite forum.
Just on that forum, is it on?
Yeah.
Has it broke on Twitter yet, or
I haven't seen it on Twitter yet. No, I have not.
4chan leak. I don't know what to do with that one. What do you think, guys? Do you want to know?
Yeah.
They're saying 4chan.
I think we might as well know. And we'll just, if it doesn't happen, we know it's BS.
It's rumor and speculation.
Yes, rumor and speculation is always fun to talk about.
So apparently they have been right before, but the majority of their stuff recently has been wrong, is what Rifts in Time is actually saying. So are you on 4chan? You don't mind me asking? Is that how you know?
I'm not. I just seen it on everyone's other favorite forum that shall not be mentioned. That's where I first seen it. I didn't see it on 4chan now.
Does anybody really care? I mean, so he's going to piss off. So he's going to piss off the J-Box, but he's going to piss us off all at the same time.
Yeah, I think
so. He's either putting in the bubble universe, or it's going to splinter off into its own timeline.
Or it's going to affect past Doctors. That's what would get us all.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that we're most concerned about, is how this affects the classic era, because that's the main thing for me.
Yeah, they've all been relisted as fugitive Doctors now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Well, that's been going on Google, and I even suspected that was the thing that was going to happen, because if you go onto Google, they're all mentioned as the fugitive Doctor now. Tom Baker's the creator.
Well, the Doctor was always a fugitive anyway, so
so I mean, it doesn't really change that in that aspect. It's just the whole thing about a child being tortured and who that child is what everybody wants fucking fixed. Go on anyway, Marty. Fuck it, let's do it.
I'm just about to find it, so if you wanna chit chat, I'll get it and I'll send it.
Right. Well, what I'll do is I'll start asking people for their ratings so we can wrap up this whole Sontaran War review. I will say this: a very mixed bag this week, and I have to say I agree with a lot of what's been actually said, even though I did enjoy the episode. That's the thing. The stuff.
Well, you should never let anyone take that away from you personally. If you enjoyed it, all power to you. I'm not here to take that away from you.
Exactly. There was still something, but I didn't know that stuff that you actually brought up. Does it change the enjoyment of it? No, it doesn't. But it was nice to know. But I will say it's nice to actually know the true representation of history that you gave us there. So I've no problem with that. So, but look, as I said, this has a lot of faults.
I don't have a problem with the character being brought through from history in its current era. I understand that, and she did do good things, but you
have to represent that off. But you do have to balance that off, because there's always two.
Yeah, and it was the fact that out of her own mouth, they put into her own mouth that she had to denigrate the work of Florence Nightingale, which was, for me, utterly reprehensible.
Right. Well, give your rating. Go on. What are you giving this week's episode? Because everybody's throwing their rating in.
Well, I'm not going to throw the whole thing under the bus because of that. I had to balance it out with the things that I did like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it really impacted my enjoyment of this to the point I was fuming. It's really difficult.
Remember what you gave last week's one, and then if you thought that,
and I was very generous with that.
Yeah, you were. So they're kind of judging from the way you voted it last week, and then that might make it easier for you, pal.
Yeah.
If you think it was lower, rate it lower, man.
Yeah. Come back to me. I need to think about it.
Right, that's fair enough. Charlotte.
Right, I gave last week 4.5. Yeah, I gave it 4.5, and I had issues last week with the pace and the amount of stuff chucked at me. But there was, near the end, I was actually enjoying this a little bit. I'm not going to lie. and say I wasn't. But that the whole Doctor in this, the writing of her is the thing I've had an issue with throughout this whole run, and to have it so, it like whoever said it was almost like series 11 again. It was almost like series 11 when it comes to her characters as a character and the writing, and just him completely misunderstanding the Doctor, and that's such a big part of the show. I'll give it a 5.
Okay, that's fair enough. Marty.
Well, after watching it and hearing what you have said, and sort of thinking about my own opinions on it, last week I gave it 8 out of 10 because I thought it was a strong episode. This week, I think we're going to have to go down to 6.5. 6.5.
Okay.
That's
fair
right.
enough. Sigma?
Initially, I was going to give it an 8 out of 10, but considering my own negative comments on it and taking everybody else's into account as well, I might knock that down to a 6.5, pushing 7. Because while overall I did enjoy the episode, the negatives are so big you could park a bus in them. So yeah, about 6.5. I'll sit 6.5 out of 10.
No problem. Real Super Doctor.
Well, I originally gave it a 6 out of 10. I think I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah. I didn't give my rating. Sorry. So last week I thought was best thing that Chibnall wrote, as I did say, and I do stand by that. So, because I didn't rate it, I don't think last week. So if I was to rate last week's episode, I would have probably gave it 6. This week's episode, I'm actually going to give it 5 because there should have been more character development and story plot development, but it seemed to stagnate, in my opinion. As I said, look, next week's episode is episode 3. And episode 3 and 4 is always the danger, right? Because I reckon there's curveballs coming next week. And yeah, I will agree, there's certain things starting to creep back in. But I hope that was a one-off, right? Because obviously the character that he had, he introduced tonight. Let's hope it is a one-off. But you know what? Now I am a little bit like, I do want to watch next week. I'm still kind of intrigued to see what happens. But by next week, something has to happen. Something has to happen. The story has to move. Look, if the story doesn't move along next week and Lee is right and he's doing the same thing that he always fucking does, is where he'll give us all this filler crap, and then right at the end of the bleeding episode then he adds more to the story. I don't want that shit, right? Because that's not good enough. It's never been good enough. That's why the ratings have nosedived. It's not good enough. Fans expect more. Look at the level that he's up against. RTD, even Stephen Moffat, when he's good, he's bloody brilliant. Go back to the show's history. Bob Holmes, all of those other great bleeding writers, Terrence Dix, right? That's the level, right? He's still nowhere near it. But he has started to, I'm not going to say get his act together because that's too strong a fucking word. But he's given us 2 of the best episodes of the entire run that he's ever had on Doctor Who, in my opinion. Is it good enough though? Still, no. And I want people, because people are calling me out all the time. All of a sudden, I had an argument. I won't get into it, but I had a bit of a disagreement with someone on Facebook, and it just got into this stupid bloody thing it did. But again, just because I've said that I've liked last week's episode and I've liked all of it, have I been happy totally with it? No, of course I haven't. There's flaws there. Everybody can see them. The panel tonight, actually, I think everybody has been fantastic with all the points that they brought up. Even listening to them, thinking back after what, when I watched it, obviously live, it's different when you're watching it, but listening to people now, I'll go back and watch now again. Like I think it was Marty said, I'll go back and watch again, and I'll probably see this better now. You know what I mean? Because it's been said, but I that line where she did talk to the general, men like you. I didn't like that line myself. I mean,
I know, like I said,
I
and
understood
also
where the general was coming from his point of view. This is his world, his earth. So what gives her the right to give him a lecture?
Why not say something like people like you? Why say men like you? Can you not say people like you?
Yeah.
Because it's Chibnall, and every opportunity this doctor has, she will take that opportunity to have a go at a bloke.
Yeah.
Every time. And the way she sat him down like a naughty schoolboy, and then when he tried to say something, she jumped in, didn't she, and said what, because she asked him what he thought it was, and then he was about to say, and then she interrupted him, and then when it came to Mary's turn, she said something. She was all praise and applause, and then admonished. It's so transparent, right? I just find this kind of facetiousness absolutely repellent, and it makes me really angry, and I'm astonished, frankly, that people are not reacting to this, going, what the fuck, right? This is not equality, right? This is that equity thing we keep hearing about, where you have to lower somebody, put them in their place to elevate someone else, and I'm sick to fuck of it. Stop doing this, BBC. I don't want this in my entertainment. Right, you don't need to do this.
Yeah,
right. It's really not on.
Yeah, that's not the characteristics of a strong character. That's what bullies.
That's
do.
Weakness. When you have to admonish someone to elevate someone else, is weakness. That's not strong. That's smug. It's preachy. It's condescending, and it's absolutely not required. Right, this is terrible characterization. It's in everything now. Everything Chibnall touches has the same thing. And I thought we'd escape that from the last episode. No, we're right back to that again, and I'm sick to fuck of it. Enough.
Well, let's hope it was. As I said, let's.
And that's informed my score, actually.
Right. Well,
same with me.
Give us your score. Have you got your score now? Do you know your
2
score?
out of 10.
2 out of 10. Right, we'll go quickly and move swiftly on before he has another rant. Sigma, you want to give your
I was been sitting there watching this fucking
score, please, out of 10, and then we'll get into this Doctor Who stuff. I've been sent it as well, so I've just read it. But go ahead. Yeah, you can see me face blank expression. Yeah. Go ahead anyway. Sigma.
Huh?
Yeah, give you a score.
I already did.
What did you give it?
I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5.
Yeah.
Right. So who did I miss then?
No, you got everyone, I think.
You got everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that was quick. Oh, Jesus. Right. Okay, then let's. Oh, yeah. I'm an idiot. Right. I got distracted, you see. This is what happens. Right. I'll let Marty, because obviously Marty's the one that brought it up, so I'll give him the pleasure or the heartache of telling you what this rubbish is. Go ahead.
Right. So fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your bits.
I think Charlotte's about to drop out for us. So.
Yeah.
No problem, Charlotte. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.
And thanks for tolerating me cutting over you. You make so many good points. I have to cut in and say yes before I forget.
No, I had my little rant this week as well, Lee, so it wasn't just you. So thank you, and I'll see you guys during the week. Good night.
See you later.
See you,
Charlotte.
Right, let's. Daniel says. What does Daniel say there? So why is the chat skipping like that? Stop skipping. Stop second skipping. Don't keep us in suspense with the rumor. So Daniel's telling you, hurry that. Get up, man.
Right.
The legend tells you, get on with it.
This is, and I quote what the poster has said.
Yeah, and it's rumor and speculation, by the way. Want to make that clear disclaimer. Yeah, so for all you idiots that don't understand,
this is not Noel's source or anything. This is just from 4chan.
So 4chan. Right, go for it. Anyway.
Here we go. It's true. I'm the guy who leaked the Scottish Sontaran a month ago. The series ends with the Doctor going to ancient Gallifrey, teaming up with Ruth, and the Flux being counteracted with regeneration energy, which sends the Flux into its own universe, destroying it and the Hell Priest, whoever the hell that is. The cliffhanger for episode 6 is Davros appearing in the console room asking the Doctor to kill all Daleks. The division was established to ensure the secrecy of the Timeless Child and the relationship with the Forbidden Realm, and all of them are controlled by Swarm. Swarm is an interdimensional being who uses the Flux to destroy/swarm universes, which he uses to harvest time energy, hence his name. His official title is the Icon. The Doctor, I can't believe I'm saying this, the Doctor is his offspring, but she chose a different path and birthed regeneration energy in our universe instead of swarm energy. In the finale, he compares his creation to a chessboard where weeping angels are pawns to harvest energy, whereas he and his sister are the king and queen. That's it. But the guy has also said that he knows the name of the last 2 episodes. Now, this will be the key as to whether this is bullshit or not. So, he has said episode 5 is called The Day After Yesterday. Episode 6 is called How to Save a Universe.
Right. If those 2 titles actually come true because they haven't been dropped yet, then he's legit, and then we're fucked.
Yeah. So, as much as people, obviously don't believe it, this could all be bullshit. This is why I'm skeptical about saying all of this. It could be bullshit. But
it sounds shit enough to be Chibnall.
Of course. So, if it does happen, there's no, it's not even, there's people who even like the whole Timeless Child thing now getting pissed off about this.
Yeah.
Why? Because it feeds into the very thing that they support.
The offspring of Crystal Head.
Yeah.
No. That has to be bullshit. There's no if he does that right, and
that's the death of Doctor Who right there.
Indication or any rumor that this is even ever being talked about. But if he does that right, forget about RTD coming back. It's over. It's gone.
Unless he can retcon that, I mean, why not? I mean, people say, he won't retcon this because it's a fella, right? Bullshit. Chibnall's retconned the entirety of Doctor Who history. I don't think it's any disrespect to retcon out Chibnall's era entirely.
Is it a case of,
or he expands on it, which is even worse. RTD comes back then and says, because listen, we've been told that this is going to be huge and spectacular.
Even if God himself came down from the fucking mountain and handed us the next fucking era of Doctor Who, I won't be watching it. Because if this is where it's going, if this is even remotely true, I am not interested.
The only reason I think this is bullshit is because after the backlash they received from the Timeless Child, I don't think the BBC would ever allow Chibnall to do this.
Suicide.
They didn't allow him to do it because they know that RTD is going to expand on it.
But if this does come to pass, the only way I will ever watch Doctor Who going forward is that when RTD comes back, he starts the series off with Peter Capaldi regenerating into someone else and fucking this entire era off into the nearest black hole.
Yeah, if it's bull, which I'm gonna say out straight from the stuff that we've been hearing, and let's be honest, the sources on this channel have been pretty spot on. We haven't heard no such inkling at all. If there was even talk of this, we would know something, trust me, and we would have known something before now.
Is it the case
I
of Chibnall?
don't believe it for 1 second. Again, like everybody else.
Well, I don't want. I
did get so much backlash, and the others on the other side can deny it all they want. It got such huge backlash, right? That after that Timeless Child, look what's happened to the show as well.
And I will be there to remind them every single day that they supported this fucking era. And if this turns out to be true, I'm going to say, well, you allowed this to happen because you didn't join in our voices against it. And you reap what you sow.
Yeah,
and I will be there to remind you.
Because the simple fact of the matter is that you let use our hatred of fans like us cloud what was right in front of you.
You were culpable in the
we've been telling you fans for years that this man does not respect this show, right? His doctor, he doesn't write Jody Whitaker properly. Yes, she is way out of her head, but she is just piss poor because of him as well, right? His stories, right? Series 11 and 12, absolutely. Look,
there won't be a volcano where Chibnall can hide if he does this. Let's put it that way.
I don't know. Like, is it the case where Chibnall's throwing the toys out of the pram and it's operation just take the whole ship down?
Scorched earth, yeah. I mean, if that look, let's assume it's true. I mean, it's crazy enough to be true, right? I mean, that's
the thing. This is crazy. Before, if this was under Stephen Moffat's era or even RTD's era, and we heard a rumor like that, we could pretty much dismiss it without even getting angry about it or even thinking that there's a possibility. Yeah. But as Lee has rightly pointed out, right, Gary held on to the Timeless Child rumor until he thought it was the right time to come out and tell us. I even didn't believe him. A lot of fans didn't believe him, thought this was bullshit. That there was no way they'd do anything like this. But he was right, and they did it, right? So this is why I don't dismiss rumor, even though it sounds fucking crazy like everybody said. This is Chris Chibnall. He does crazy. And what have I said? He loves a curveball. This man loves a fucking curveball. He loves to throw something in there to piss everybody off.
Well, there's one way to know if this is going to be true or not. We just have to wait for those titles to come out. And if that is... Yeah. What was the first one again?
It was the day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow, right? So if that is...
The day after yesterday.
The day after yesterday. Okay, so... keep an eye out for that, folks. If that's the title of the fifth episode,
literally wants a certain time or something like that.
But the thing is, those titles sound like something Chibnall would have as an episode title too. That's the thing. It sounds like something like How to Save a Universe makes me think of that song. How to Save a Life. It's like something we've done it before with Arachnids in the UK. The Woman Who Fell to Earth. He's taken song,
I'm surprised it isn't the unraveling of the It's a plural. Whatever.
If the division is, well, come here, in fairness, right, if you kind of break down that rumor, all fans, see, this is why I had a bit of time to think, right? I don't think we should be getting too upset with this.
I don't see Davros coming back.
I'll tell you why. We've all suspected anyway that the division was set up to either protect the Timeless Child or whatever. Fans have come up with those conspiracy theories, those when they come up with their own ideas of where they think the plot is going to go. So I'm looking at a lot of this rumor now, and if you look at it, a lot of it has actually been spoken about in separate entities from each other. And I think what someone has basically done is stuck it all together. Like, there is rumor that Root is supposed to be coming back. That's not even, listen, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes, right? It would make absolute sense for Root to come back, just like it would for the Master. And by the way, right, don't be fooled by this, because I'll tell you why. Everybody knows that he's finishing off this Dalek story. So, of course, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up at the end.
I don't think Davros will be a character that will come up. Now, I think that will be saved for something like one of the specials, because that would make sense in terms of all the specials have been Dalek
focused. That would be that as well, true.
And the other thing he doesn't mention, the other thing the rumor doesn't mention is anything to do with these mysterious other characters that have been introduced. There's nothing related to them. If anything, I would have expected more alternative fugitive doctors than just Ruth anyway. So I think that's kind of just hanging your hat on a character that we know exists rather than something that hasn't happened yet. I think it's too obvious. So I tend not to believe this rumor.
Again, when you look at it and
it sounds crazy enough, but
and you listen to stuff that's being said in the past, like we all always come across either fan speculation or fan theories. And that's what this looks like. It looks like someone has put it all together. People have spoke about Davros coming back already. Like that's being spoke about. The Master has been spoke about this. I mean, for example, the Swarm said something about Welcome to Hell or something, and then they have a line in here. Where is it? Swarm is an interdimensional being. Well, we kind of all knew that with the very first episode. Like you don't have to be a genius there.
I've got the link to the original story. I'm reading it at the moment.
Talking Comics with Garminator said that was the best who has been in years. Yeah,
we did
talk about all the positives. Obviously, we have been. Someone dropped a rumor on 4chan, and we're just talking about that.
I think it's someone who wants attention and wants to kick up a bit of controversy.
I think that's what that is, because in other streamers' chats, there was someone going around fake quoting RTD, where apparently he was supposed to say that he was going to respect the timeless children or the timeless child. He never said no such thing. Sure, he hasn't really said anything about what he's going to be doing with his era. So why would he make such a...
I think you can respect it by putting it down as an act of kindness.
Mercy kill.
A mercy kill, yeah. I think that would be respectful. If you want to respect the timeless child, respect the fans who've said no. Because that's the vast majority of them.
Marty, Talking with Garminator would like to hear the rumor again from 4chan. I have a copy of it as well, Talking Comics, so I'll send it to you as well. But Marty, read it out again. And remember, disclaimer again, this comes from 4chan, doesn't come from any of the sources that I usually get me information off. I just want to make that clear. But everything that is read out now is rumor and speculation. This is not fact. I want to make that clear. Marty, go ahead.
It's true. I'm the guy who leaked the Scottish Sontaran a month ago. The series ends with the Doctor going to ancient Gallifrey, teaming up with Ruth and the Flux, being counteracted with the regeneration energy, which sends the Flux into its own universe, destroying it and the Hell Priest, whoever the hell that guy is. Episode 6 cliffhanger is Davros appearing in the TARDIS console room asking the Doctor to kill all Daleks. The division was established to ensure the secrecy of the timeless child and the relationship within the Forbidden Realm, and all of them are controlled by the Swarm. Swarm is an interdimensional being who uses the Flux to destroy /swarm universes, which he uses to harvest time energy. Hence his name. His official title is the Icon. The Doctor is his offspring, but she chose a different path and birthed regeneration energy in our universe instead of swarm energy. In the finale, he compares his creation to a chessboard where weeping angels are pawns to harvest energy, whereas he and his sister are the king and queen. That's basically the whole thing that's been said, but the same guy has said that he knows the last 2 episode titles for the series. As I say, if one of these gets confirmed, I'll be very suspicious of the whole thing. So what the guy has said is episode 5 is called The Day After Yesterday, and episode 6 is called How to Save a Universe. So yeah, I'm just skeptical about the whole
Can
thing.
anyone just walk into the TARDIS now? So like Davros just wheels into the TARDIS. Even the Doctor can't get in the bloody TARDIS.
Hold on. Again, you have to be we don't understand what situation would allow Davros, if, for example,
well, like, I mean, Sister Jadun
if the
can
shields
walk
were
in.
down, Davros could very easily get into the.
Well, everyone seems to be able to get in nowadays.
That part of the rumor doesn't sound ridiculous, but
it is
ridiculous. The rest of it definitely does. I mean, he says Jesus wept no words. If that is true, and the swarm is obviously, and the Doctor is the offspring, right? If that's what they're believing, saying, then this show is done. It doesn't matter. You bring RTD back. If this isn't getting retconned, right? And remember, like I've said, that the timeless child won't be retconned the way people would want it to be retconned. Is this what he's doing? Is this what he's doing? Because if this is it, right, and he does that, I'm telling you now, as Lee said, you could bring God back. You could bring Jesus back, even bring Lazarus back, right? You ain't resurrecting this show. It's done. You could bring, unless RTD comes back, and I don't know why. I don't think he would do it, but he would have to retcon that rubbish for people to be able, because people are not gonna stay on board if that's the case. I know for a fact they're done. They're already pissed off about the timeless child. You do this now and do that. That's it. It's done. I don't care.
Yeah.
You bring back fucking, as I said, you could even do a deal with the devil. You would never get this show back.
I think they already have, frankly.
Yeah.
Even the devil's got better taste than this.
But I will make this absolute. What, episode 5 the day after tomorrow? What is have they dropped the episode, or is that?
No, I just put it under the chat.
Jeez, don't do that to me. I thought you were bleeding.
No.
Right. Just wait. What RTD is planning won't disappoint. He's on a full rescue mission. Yeah, but talking comics with Gorman, I'll ask you this question, right? Just hypothetically, if all of this rumor that we've just read out is true, do you honestly think that fans are still going to come back because RTD is back? Because a lot of fans would be talking, and I have to be fair here, the big sticking point for them all is obviously the timeless child. This would not only reinforce it, but this would add onto it. And the consequences are basically that the swarm is related to the Doctor, but not only related to the Doctor, but is the Doctor is the child of the swarm.
Yeah.
So bad.
Saying it out loud, it just sounds utterly stupid.
Now, I have to stress that does sound absolutely ridiculous, right? But you see, we can't dismiss it straight off the bat this time, because if this was under RTD and Moffat, we could laugh it off, right?
Yeah.
We can't laugh it off yet because we got the timeless child in the first place, and let's be honest, nobody thought he'd do that shit, and he did. Well, look, if they do that, look, I don't know personally. I don't
think I'll even bother watching if those titles turn out to be true.
I don't know. No, I'll still watch because I have to see. Yeah, you have to see with your own eyes.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen. I think.
You only think the outrage was bad with Series 12. If that turns out to be true, could you imagine what the fandom's going to do? Even the people who like the Timeless Child don't like the idea. Even people who like the Timeless Child do not like the idea of this at all. They're not
right here. Look at this anyway. This is what Talking Comics with Gorminator says. Now, whatever Chips does not matter. Team 2005. Take it from me. We're in good hands. Chips stuff doesn't matter. You know what I told you in private. Yeah, there was some stuff that was said. Yeah, I know, but the fans are obviously, honestly worried.
Yes.
I know what's being said. And you know, but as I said, Chris Chibnall does like to throw a curveball in there, and yeah. Look.
Oh, I'll take that curve and shove it down his throat.
I'm all depressed now, but look, it is only a fucking rumor, right? On 4chan, right? So just take it with a pinch of salt. As I said, some of the stuff that is in that rumor has been stuff that's been repeated by fans for months. Even before Flux came along, people were speculating about the Master and all of this and Davros returning. So if you look at it from that context, that rumor has a lot of stuff that fans have already been talking about for the last 6-7 months. But the other stuff with the Swarm, see, this could be just someone very cleverly putting shit together and coming up with their own little thing and putting it out as a rumor. We've seen it before on Reddit, right? So just look at it that way. But and those titles as well. I mean, there's one called the next one is Time Upon One. So I don't know. It's a fucking stupid league.
Once Upon Time.
There, Once Upon Time, right?
Which is a bit of
the one that your man saying the day after the whatever it was, the day after
tomorrow.
Yeah, the day after tomorrow. Like it's a kind of play on the next title of the episode, and he probably has figured out, well, maybe he'll go like this for this episode and whack variant. We don't know. Just wait and see. Listen, they dropped the episode title.
Can you move your phone away from the microphone, whoever's doing it? That's going through my ear.
My phone is... It's not here, actually.
Just everyone keep their phone away.
That's the one that's gone. But anyway, it's a rumor, so let's not get too upset about it. Let's see what happens. Right. We'll leave it there. Another long night. As I said, for anybody that's just joined us and thinks that we've been negative Nancy's, what I'd say to you is go back to the very start of the stream, because for the first part of it, we were actually talking about the positive things to this episode. And also, to give it a fair shake, we also talked about some of the negative things and things that were bothering some people in the chat. And as I said, look out for Cheryl's review also, so you can get her take on the Sontaran war. But we've got a 20 Australian dollar super chat from Legal Blues.
Yeah, I was listening to that song yesterday, funnily enough. I was going to post it on Twitter. Go and read it out.
ABBA has a song about Dan. Coincidence?
Yeah, that was. I was thinking that yesterday. I was listening to it. To be honest, it's probably one of the only decent. Well, that and the last track on the album were decent. The rest of it is just like, look, it's not the 1970s ABBA. Move on.
Yeah,
but yeah,
more hardcore, die-hard ABBA fans are actually very pleased about this album.
Because it sounds like every other ABBA album in one, you know.
Maybe they probably start looking.
It's called the song's called "Keep an Eye on Dan." I was like, are they trying to tell us something here?
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe Chris Chibnall wrote in ABBA. You know,
I love ABBA, but you know, this album was just derivative. You probably
played it safe for the first one.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I think that the last song on the album, "Ode to Freedom," was absolutely incredible, beautiful.
Yeah,
I want to hear that. I want to hear more of that. You know, otherwise it sounds very MIDI.
The question I do need to ask you, Lee, in particular, though, is are you back next week, or is that you now checked out? And as I said, it's up to you. You know,
the only reason I'm sticking around now is I need to see what it's like the timeless child. It's like a sore tooth. You can't stop that.
Yeah.
I need to see it with my own eyes to know where I am at here.
Yeah.
Like the Swarm thing. I like that character. I want to see where that goes. I'm not going to let this rumor affect my opinion. I guess I'm kind of committed to it now. I am intrigued. At least Chibnall has me intrigued, but not necessarily for the right or good reasons. You know, it's some, as you said, it's some of it's about closure. If I do feel that it reaches a point where I blow my lid and I'm out, you'll know about it.
Yeah.
You'll know about
it.
it.
Was the night, but obviously not. That was tame.
It came very fucking close, I must tell you.
Right. Well, look, we will leave it at that because, as I said, we obviously will be back soon. We'll have a Tarda Zone talks for people that have caught up with the episode, and if you want to come on, and remember, I brought a guest on Friday that hadn't seen the episode, and that was a once-off because Josh is does be only available on Friday nights, so that's why I allowed him on. But from now on, if you want to come on the Tarda Zone talks, make sure that you've watched the episode, because I only want opinions of people that have watched and get as many different opinions as I can. That's what we do on this channel. But I want to say thank you to all my panelists. So Charlotte, who left us a little bit earlier, Problem Being, thank you for joining us. Real Super Dr. Marty and Sigma later, and everybody in the chat also for contributing. But I just will leave with this. Obviously, Lee mentioned the chat earlier on, and I would like you from now on, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody in the chat, but I would just say to everybody in the chat, remember, even if there are people with opposing opinions in the chat, and a lot of you have been mixed about it, it's okay. It's okay, and there's no need to be, either attacking people's opinions or, you can disagree with them by all means, but there's a way of doing it. Just be polite.
Nothing should stop you enjoying what you enjoy personally. Just allow the same courtesy to other people who didn't. And everyone would just be so much better for it. Just go, well, we agree to disagree. Exactly. That's your opinion. That's interesting. Moving on.
From now on, if it does happen, I'll be instructing the moderators just to remove any troublemaking.
No, I don't. It's up to people, and people can react.
No problem with everybody having an opinion, but if it gets nasty,
if it gets nasty, look, the chat has to be for everyone to feel that they can speak their mind. But at the same time, listen, we're all adults, right? We can discuss these things and be adults.
I'm the host, lady.
Shut your face.
As I said, but you made some good points, but I'm the host.
Right.
Body rank.
Right.
He's got 3 little balls on his neck.
He's absolutely right, but look, be nice, be kind to each other. At the end of the day, we all will have different opinions as this series moves on. It's probably gonna look next week. Lee probably will blow top. I'll probably blow top with him. We'll probably all be here. We'll all probably have egg on their faces, and we'll probably all be crying.
Yeah.
Or we could continue what he's doing, giving us some good elements there, and there's a lot of them. But unfortunately, there is, I will admit, there's some things of old habits of Chris Chibnall creeping in, and it does worry me. I'm very worried now for next week's episode because, as I said, he likes to throw in a curveball third episode particularly. So we'll see what happens. And the fandom should embrace each other's opinions for sure. Exactly. Look, if the fandom just start doing that again, it'd be a better place for everybody, and everybody could feel safe. They talk about the fandom being a safe space for everybody. Well, it only becomes a safe space when you
having a critical opinion does not make you toxic,
and respect each other's opinions, whether you agree with them or not. And Lee, go on. You wanted to add a point because you've done.
No, I was just saying, having an opinion, a critical opinion, doesn't make it toxic. Exactly. we all have to be exposed to opinions we don't like. And you can disagree with them vehemently as you like, but ultimately there is enough room in this world for everyone to have their say and for everyone to disagree, but defend everyone's right to have their opinion.
Exactly, and no matter if you like it or not. Told you there, I've threw his comment up, so the legend has instructed you to thanks panel, cheers. Hit the like button on the way out, guys, and he's right. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Go and check out both their reviews, me watch-alongs and Cheryl's review what if you haven't watched them so far, go and watch them all, because we had people come in midway through and thinking that we were being negative. You will find that we've also talked about the good points of both episodes, and actually last week we spoke mostly about the good.
I gave a good review last week.
You gave a good review last week. So again, this week, this episode didn't float Lee's boat as much as the first because he had some problems with it, and that's fine. Fair enough. At the end of the day, as I said, we're all going to have varied opinions during this whole series. It's fascinating seeing that with the fans. But next week is going to be very telling. So let's see. I hope it's not doom and gloom. I really do. As I said, for the sake of the show and for RTD to have an easier job when he comes in, let's hope Chris Chibnall can actually pull it off. And, that sounded a bit awful, but you know what I mean.
Well, I think he's pulled off enough right now.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah, it's steady.
All over the
I
fandom.
have to see now next week, particularly myself now, as I said, I was expecting a lot more development on the story and the plot, to be honest. So next week, it has to move along now. For me personally, that's just me. But we'll see what we'll get next week, and we'll see if I'm satisfied with it. But overall, a mixed bag from everybody on the panel, which is to be expected.
Can I say a big thank you as well on my channel, my Michael Sheen title sequence that I posted about nearly 3 months ago now. It's now at 10,000 views.
Oh,
so
wow.
Amazing.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, for anybody that hasn't seen it, I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll give it a bit of a whirl here at the end of this stream, and we're going to leave it there, folks. I want to thank because they keep coming up with different names, but it's Peter from Australia. But I want to thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Legal Blues. We're under Legal Blues now. Thank you for the super chat, Peter. I hope you're doing well. All the way from Australia, folks. All the way from Australia.
G'day.
So, sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Well, you know what, Jim? That's the great thing about YouTube. You can go back and watch it all again. There you go. And then don't forget to hit that like and share and subscribe if you haven't. But I think you have. Well, you wouldn't be here if you didn't subscribe. I'm actually talking out my ass now. Gonna go. See you later.
You're talking out your Chibnall.
Have a good one. And we'll see you next week. Listen, it's been a good weekend. We'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Farewell.
Goodbye.